Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They're going to touch it. They haven't got it. He's on the outside line, though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now, though, for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back for the VWSC Modern Series this evening as we're going to battle along for the 120 minutes of Sebring, or for us people to use normal language, 2 hours. There you go, around this iconic circuit. Calendar on right in front of you. As you can see at the moment, it is Sebring this week. We're in Qatar for the 100 minutes, and Imola, Spa, Le Mans test session on the 23rd of May. We won't be broadcasting that one. Then Le Mans 4.8 hours off to the Glen, Sao Paulo, Road America, Kota, Fuji, Road Atlanta and Bahrain. Now there is a calendar change happening at this moment in time. The Qatar 100 minutes will move to October 31st. Then the 2 hours of Bahrain is at the moment up for a public vote of what date we go to. So them two will change. The Qatar will drop to the bottom, and then Bahrain, we are waiting for a date to come through on when that will take place. Let's have a look at the track for today. Sebring, 3.74 miles, 6.02 kilometers, and it was built in 1950. Of course, it's set on an airfield. It's very bumpy indeed, so it's something they will have to look out for. Everybody knows Sebring. I don't really have to give you much of an introduction to this track. If you haven't raced here, well, where you been? What you been doing? You've been living under a rock. Let's have a look at the keys to the race for today. Set up for the bump. There we go. Look at that. I'm like a mind reader. Call me Mystic Meg on that one. Traffic control is going to be very difficult indeed, especially go down into the hairpin. Mind the dark. We will go day to light. They have got cat's eyes on the floor, so we will find out how they work out and whether or not they're going to be any good. Fuel 2 times. GTs are going to make 3 stops, 30 to 35 minutes per stop. They're going to go out on the medium and the wets. Hypercars 20 to 24 minutes, 4 to 5 stops. They will got medium, hards and wet tyres. Going to be an interesting one. Let's see how they go on. Let's catch up with the standings. Starting off with the Hypercar Pros. Ben Kesby out in front with 45 points. Tom Lane in second with 32, Magnus Dahlgren in third, then Johnny Gutierrez, Timon Suvic, Bradley Sellers, Troy Uyan, Ego Karabasak, Luciano Ichazo, Ryan Paulbert Reyes. Then obviously from 10 to 17 underneath that. In the team standings, British Turkish Racing Ferrari is out in front at the moment on 53 points with SKS Motorsport. Then Bad Day Racing, Team Rookie, CMS Pro Ferrari, and then Craven Racing Aurora at the bottom of that one. Going into the Hypercar AMS, it is Jerry Chen out in front on 44 points. George Angelidis in second again. This guy has spent more time being the bridesmaid than he has the bride, as poor old George. Let's hope this might be his season where he gets to wear that white dress. Eric Monet in third, and Vinicius Concalves in fourth, Mike Bice in fifth, and John Mayer, Stephen Bice, Norm Graff, Matthew Bice, Dean Clark, Zachary Chavot, Benjamin Portier at the bottom. In the teams, Akiri Mistral out in front with Maya Schenk Racing, then Trash Panda and Crazy Squirrels round out the top 4. Going on to the LMGT3 Pros, it's JT Tammy out in front on 44 points, and Dan Kirby William Snowden, Alan Holden, David Shunt rounding out the top 5. Simon Kingsbury, Alexander McQuarrie, John Uyan, Dan Fowler, and then Alexander Schultz in that one. In the team, CMS Pro Porsche with Kirby and Uyan out in front. Not quite sure we've seen that one before. Tied actually with Boyd Transport Racing with from Kingsbury and Snowden. See how they go. Interesting there as well. A couple of new drivers this season, new team, see what happens. Initial Free Racing in 3rd, then SF Motorsport in 4th. Into the LMGT3 AMS. This is going to be an exciting one. It has been for the first race of the season. Vasilios Kataranakis is in 1st place on 45 points. Then Stuart Barge, Daryl Kruger, Christian Dalga, and Stephen Miller. In the teams, it is Dark Thunder Racing out in front with Pinnacle Racing Team McLaren in 2nd. One-man teams, they're battling it out for the team championship. This is, of course, round number 2. This modern series has taken a little bit of a while to get going, but we will kick it off here as well. I'm JB. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Alex Goldschmidt, Ross Smith, and of course, as always, it is Mr. Paul Glover on the cams in the background. I'm sure we'll hear us at some point there again in YouTube chat. Limerick Johnny, hello. He says, hello, how are you? And of course, our very own Ted Kravitz there with Mr. Reese sitting in YouTube chat as well. Let's bring the man who's going to come along for the ride, who's going to sit alongside me for this whole race here, Mr. Alex Goldschmidt. Alex, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Feeling a lot better than I was earlier on this week, JP, but good to be back alongside you for this 2-hour race round at Sebring. It is going to be a tough one for the drivers involved.
Absolutely. There's something we're going to have to look out for as well. The drivers are into warm-up, which generally know, as we know, which means doing a few laps, then the driver briefing, then, of course, testing pit boxes as well. That's normally the opportunity we bring this man into the booth. We all know him as Mr. Ross Smith. Well, for people who are in SGS and CMS, they know us as the man who does all the programming and everything else. But let's bring him in. Russ, welcome in.
I don't know about all the programming. I mostly play with crowns and pencils and stuff in the background, making some graphical things. But it's good to be here. Thanks for having me, James.
No worries at all. Dude, what's been going on this week? We'll have a chat. Let's get this out of the way. We normally have an update from you on what's happening. Tell us what has been going on with the mod, what's happening, and how much of an improvement has there been over the last few weeks?
So there's been a lot of focus going across multiple mods all at the same time. Some of the ones that we've already released, like we just put out a string of the Daytona tracks all the way back from the 60s up to modern day. So lots of different variations there. So if you're running R Factor 2, you can check that out in the workshop. And then for some of the cars that we have going on, there have been some small changes, updates, mostly delivery packs because of all the races going on for the 81s, and then for the modern ones, getting those set for today. Although there's still a couple cars having to run loose skins. Hopefully we can get those in on the next one. And then in the background, we've had a lot of the Evos trying to get wrapped up. So the Acura Evo's done. The Mustang should be done pretty shortly here, and then the Cadillac as well, because fortunately they decided they wanted to change a bunch of things on that car and make my life a pain. So all those will be done. Then we'll be able to wrap up the 1985s to put those into the workshop, what we ran last year for the historics. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to be back and forth, just like a bouncing ball between updating moderns and the 1981s and the 2026 cars, just all over the place, trying to get those ready so we can release some of the modern packs we have from 2023 all the way through 25, while also updating the cars that we're running in the 2026 pack at the same time. So lots of work on the table.
Lots of work been going on there in the background. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one develops over the season. Alex, let's talk about today's race. We're at Sebring. Everybody should know it, but let's see how they get on. What do we reckon is going to happen, and where do we think the flashpoints are going to be?
Well, the flashpoints really here, JP, are going to be going into turn 1, of course, that very, very fast sweeping left-hander. Mm-hmm. You then also got the top part of the circuit, say like Collier Corner, Cunningham Curve. Backmarker traffic is another thing that you're going to have to master here, especially if you're in a hypercar or a hypercar RAM and you're chasing down an LMGT3. The speed differential is going to be quite crucial, but also Sunset Bend, turn 17. It always brings something to the party because there's so much damper rebound. The suspension's going to be bouncing up and down like a yo-yo on a string. So you never quite know if your car is going to be 100% compliant.
Absolutely. I do 100% agree. Sebring is very, very bumpy here as well. I used to, I still know the person who drives in a motion simulator, and he does it in an SR10 in a Radical. He does turn his motion simulator down to Sebring because he said if I don't turn it down, I'll end up at a dentist the following day because his teeth will rattle out as well. So let's see how this one pans out, how this one goes. Ross, as a driver, you've driven Sebring and RF2, you know all about it. Tell us, what are we going to be looking out for today?
Just controlling the bumps. I mean, fortunately, the weather's held off. Florida obviously is famous for having lots of pop-up thunderstorms and showers that will last for about 5 to 15 minutes, just soaking everything and then, scuppering off for the rest of the day, and the sun comes out. And so you have drivers diving all over the place. We saw that at the historic race last week when everyone was going along, and halfway through it decided, oh, we're just going to change it up and make all this concrete even more slippery. But for today, everything's dry, beautiful sunny weather, and the drivers are basically just going to have to look at taking care of their tires, making sure that they hold on to them all the way through the stint, and then make decisions on if they can double stint them, save some time in the pits, because it's very slow on pit road. It's very crowded. The less time you have to spend there, the better, and more track position you can get on your competition.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about the old double stinting, Ross, due to the nature of the track surface. You know what I mean? Do we really think double stint is going to be the way to go? Because it's asphalt concrete. We know how abrasive that could be. Is it a way?
It can be. For sure, the hypercars are going to be looking at that. I think just because they've got options with tire compounds between medium and hard, they can make some more strategy play there. I think GT3s, unless you're really babying your tires or you've got an extremely comfortable setup, I think that they're much more likely to switch over on each one of their stops, barring maybe a splash and dash. But that's kind of the split of the field and the way that drivers are using it. So we'll see how it works out and who's able to capitalize on their strategy.
Yeah, we're running it. This is the 8th variation of Sebring Alex as well. It's been around the block a few times. It's had multiple different changes. The 1950 layout looks, well, I'm not quite sure what it looks like, to be honest, but it looks very difficult indeed. But we're on the 2019 layout now, which is great for us to sit back and see. But we are bringing some of the most powerful cars in the world here alongside not so powerful. Do we expect drama? Do we expect miscommunication? What do we think is going to happen?
Well, I mean, if anyone's seen their old IMSA history, if anyone might remember an incident involving Wayne Taylor racing and Felipe Albuquerque going into turn 1 in the night, that's all I'm saying. I mean, the thing is, what you've got to have here at Sebring is a combination of a good setup, good traction out of the corners, and also it's the handling through the corners. So when it comes to some of the GT3s, especially the Porsches, especially the Ferraris, they're going to have that good center of gravity. Whereas with these hypercars that are going to be pulling a lot more speed, the closing rate will be even more enhanced, because like the GT3s, you could have a battle for first, second, and third in LMGT3, and then you've got 3 AMs battling for the lead of that class. So it's a case of who picks their moments, and patience is going to be another big key, because if you make that wrong move, and it's like I always say, there's the sign of desperation under driving or the sign of urgency. The sign of urgency is when someone knows they need to make that move, otherwise their strategy is not going to work. And then there'll be the other teams that go like, we've really messed it up on the strategy. We need to go all hell for leather. And then one wrong move, and it could cause skittles at one particular corner, maybe multiple here on the circuit at Sebring.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're looking at the top part of the circuit if that all goes wrong, to be honest, up through Cunningham, Collier and Tower, the massive, the right, left, right. I think that's going to cause one of the issues if they start getting alongside people here, Ross. And, we've got turn 1 and 2. We know what that's like, the long sweeping left-hander. Then you got the wiggle of 2 to 3 and then down Gurney Bend. There's lots of things can go wrong here. What are we expecting from the drivers? Has there been any sort of, have they been read the riot act, should we say?
Well, they'll be getting that pretty much right now as drivers are sitting through the briefing, and it's mostly just to keep an eye out for multi-class. I think more than anything, a lot of the drivers are fairly understanding of what they need to do in terms of staying off one another as they're going door to door racing within class. But it's when you start mixing hypercars with GT3s that things really get exciting. In those areas that you cited specifically, turn one is going to be a hot spot for sure. It always has been. That exit from pit road. I mean, it's controversial, as far as who has right of way going through there. And even if you do have a right of way, you have to be defensive the whole time, or else it could be lights out. And it doesn't matter if it was your fault or not, your race is over.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that's going to be interesting as well. And the fact that we're looking at 44 drivers around here, and it's going to be absolutely flatmatic. We've got 25 hypercars from that. Well, actually, we've got more than that. I think there's like 27 hypercars or something ridiculous along them lines there as well. We've got Kenny in YouTube chat. Ross, he's bigging you up here as well. He's literally blowing smoke, bringing you apples. Mr. Smith can do it all. So talented. My hero. Ross, who'd have thought you were a hero?
Sounds like
I guess I am.
Do you have a cape and mask, Mr. Ross Smith? That's what I'm asking.
I actually do. I'm not wearing them today. It's just a bum hoodie and some boxers for today's race to give you some mental visual
is that
images.
just is that your weekend outfit? Is it the superhero cape outfit?
No. This is how I dress up for these events.
Oh, okay. So he sat there in his mask with a red cape swinging out of his back, with his missus next to him going a Batman as he comes running out there as well.
Now, aren't they? God,
hey, listen, we go there. I've just been corrected. We got 28 hypercars out of a 44 car field. So what possibly could go wrong? I think there's going to be a lot of drama here, ladies and gentlemen. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be in the naughty boy step. And I say that in general because obviously we've got that famous orange zone that runs down from the start line right the way down to the hairpin, and two of the most dangerous flashpoints on the circuit through turn one, then 3, 4, and 5, and then why not? We'll just throw the hairpin in there as well. They're going to have to really get this right, Ross, because that orange zone is a nasty place to have it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, in terms of just the way that the penalties get handed out, you can race as normal. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can go side to side, have a good ding dong, as you like to say. But it's when you actually are at fault for anything, that it's problematic, because it's early on. Everyone's very right on top of each other, and it's just extra incentive to make sure that nobody's taking any unnecessary risk. Because as I always say, you can never win in turn one, but you can always lose. So it's there to make sure everyone stays in line. They don't get crazy and stupid right off the line. Just take it easy. You've got a full race ahead of you to take care of this. So, and it's not very far. It's just basically through the first sector, and then from then on, it's game on. So any time that you bang into each other from then on out, then it's you take your lumps as you wish. Which I don't know if you talked about it before, but the penalties are retroactive now. So anything you get in the race, any altercations or anything where you're found guilty, that is applied as a time penalty to that race, as opposed to what we've done historically, where it would be carried on to the next round, which I personally like a lot more. I feel like it puts a lot more onus on the race as it is. There's a lot more forethought as far as, what kind of dives or moves you want to make in the race, where it's, you have more repercussions happening right then and there, versus saying, oh, well, I can have the win now, and I'm not going to be as good at the next race, so what does it matter? That I don't like that kind of mindset. This is a lot more realistic to what drivers have to deal with during real races, so it's great.
That is a nice little segue into the penalties for the last race at Daytona. Magnus Dahlgren, he got a warning for being a little bit of a naughty boy for a slow start and checking up. He's going to have to make sure he works on that one. Timon Suvik, warning for a slow start as well. I'll talk about them in a minute. John Mayer got a 25-second penalty. Alan Holden got a 25-second penalty. And Riley Koenig got a 25-second penalty as well. Let's start. I'm going to throw this out to Ross here for a minute. Slow start. How are we even categorizing giving somebody a penalty for a slow start? They might have just missed the start.
So I'll preface the response just with a little bit of insight. For another thing we changed this year is that we're doing safety car starts as much as possible. We might have a couple races where we'll do manual formation like we have done historically, but as far as the way that we're going with the races now, we're trying to have it where it's a lot more realistic, where as soon as the safety car goes in and the green flag goes, everyone goes off. And it's a little bit less safe, but it's more exciting, more dramatic, more realistic to what you see in real life. So it's all for realism in that sense and the excitement of a race start that everybody enjoys. So that's putting it out there. And what we had at Daytona was some cars were, just to maybe give them the benefit of the doubt, they weren't quite on top of their starts. So that was just more of a situation where an IRR was submitted and there was attention brought to a situation, and so the stewards basically decided, okay, there is a situation here where drivers need to pay a little bit more attention. They didn't necessarily do anything wrong per se in terms of strictly violating a rule, but it's important that they're aware of the situation because it created a situation for a different driver that resulted in that. So that's why the warning is out there.
Okay. Who is determining? Right. So we punished the drivers for going in full tilt into turn one in Daytona and smashing out everybody. And now we're punishing the drivers for being a little bit more cautious. How are we? Give us the line. There's got to be a line there, Ross. Otherwise, we're going to have confusion. How are we going to determine the person just being cautious and not wanting to get crashed out in turn one to the geezer who's purposely slow and holding everyone back? Who's going to determine that line? Have we got a speed limit line? Have we got what have we got? Because that's going to open it up to bucket loads of arguments about where the line is drawn, surely, on who's going to dictate whether or not I'm going slow or I'm just being cautious.
Well, everything is contextual. Every situation is different. And because this was brought up by a submitted IRR, the stewards are compelled to review it and give a response. Sorry there. So they looked at the situation and determined that in this case, there was a driver who probably could have been more attentive, I guess, at the start. And so that's why they ruled it as such. So that way it's like, hey, guys, pay attention here. We've got things changing. You need to be on top of it. So there isn't anything specific saying like, oh, you were 2 miles per hour too slow, or, you're a few kilometers over where you need to be going in turn one. There's nothing like that. It's just more of a situational kind of thing where you look at it and say, what was going on for this specific case? And so they get responses with that, and that's where we're at. So if that driver were slow again off the line, leaving a large gap in front of them, they could get penalized. Maybe, they're right on top of somebody and they run into them. That could be a penalty. It's different for every situation.
Wow. All right. I've personally vote Ross for president, because that was a great politically correct answer there, Ross. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I do fully understand why it's there, but I don't know. Policing that is going to be an absolute nightmare, because I'd probably end up with a penalty every single race then, because I'll be hanging back going, hey, you boys go and crash into turn one. I ain't getting involved in that one. There as well. Ben Borman, I dream of getting to turn one, he says in YouTube. Carl's also in YouTube with ads as well. Welcome in, Carl. Thanks so much for joining us once again. Alex, I think that is going to be a rule that, is going to be drama for the masses, I think, this season.
Oh, yes. I mean, the thing is like, say, with one of the series that I commentate on, the standard rate is 50 miles an hour. And then when the lights go green, everyone can overtake. But I can understand from Ross's perspective that the stewards have to take the due diligence of saying who was at fault, what happened. But when you've got 40, let's be honest, folks, 44 cars into turn one here at Sebring, 3 wide, 4 wide, I'm going to be honest here. This might be the second round of the Virtual World Sportscar Championship, but this could be probably the most chaotic so far, and we're only in round 2. We've still got a long way to go, folks.
That's the thing, isn't it? They can't hang back because they might get a penalty, but they can't go in full ball because they might get a penalty. It's going to be bonkers.
It's sort of like, you know, the old adage we talk about, JP. Like, if you sit on the fence, you're going to get splintered.
Yeah. And
So
unfortunately,
it's like either you're damned if you do or you're damned if you don't. But
absolutely.
you've got to try. I think it's down to the due diligence of the drivers to make sure that they make the right call based on what information they have been given. Now, looking at the speeds, we're going to see probably top speeds of about 160 miles an hour in GT3s. We're going to see about a 20 mile an hour differential between them and the hypercars. So, as I said, when you have a track like, say, Le Mans, fine. You've got a lot more time to react. But here at Sebring, your head is going to be on a swivel in every single stint you take part on.
Absolutely. I feel on that one. Ben has had more bad luck than the dinosaur under the Astro. I fully agree with you on that one. Once again, let's bring up the grid, should we, Mr. Glover? We're not going to have a look at this one. Obviously, you can't hear Paul in the background, but here we go. Ben Kesby is going to lead the way with Tom Lane in second. Double Ferrari front row. Take a picture, guys. You ain't going to see that in Formula 1 this season. Troy Uyan in third with Brian Hall sitting in fourth place. Then Riley Koenig in fifth, then Ryan Paulbert Reyes in that Toyota TR01, not the GR this season, with Bradley Sellers and Magnus Dahlgren in eighth place. Moving on into there, Ego Karabasat in ninth, with Luciano Ichazo in 10th, and Woodward de Bruin down in 11th. Alan Smith rounding out the top 12. Then we got Timon Suvic and Johnny Gutierrez rounding out 13th and 14th. Jerry Chen up the front again in the Curie Mystery Porsche in the Hypercar AMS. Gilles Lalonde tucked in right behind him. Then behind that is Matthew Bice with John Mayer in 18th place. Steve Bice in 19th and Norm Graff on 20th. Going down into 21st place is Ollie Day in 21st and Kevin Calhart. I'm going to go with in 22nd. Vinicius Concalves in 23rd and Eric Monet rounding out top 24th. George Angelidis down in 25th. Ouch. Zachary Chabot in 26th. Mike Bice down in 27th. And Dan Kirby leading the way in the GT3 Pros. What a surprise in the Porsche. Moving on, we've got Alan Holden sitting there in second place. Great job from him with JT Tammy, John Uyan and Dan Fowler in the Porsches. Great to see the Temeraro sitting in 29th, second in class. Moving on, Vasilios Kataranakis leading the GT3 AMS, but he's not got away. He has got the Ferrari and Matty Overton in behind him. Then William Snowden in 35th, then Simon Kingsbury in 36th. Alexander Schultz in 37th, David Junt in 38th, Stuart Barge in 39th, then Darrell Kruger rounds out the top 40 in that McLaren 720S. Moving on, in Maximilian Petravki down in 41st and Stephen Miller in 42nd. Then we've got Dean Clark in 43rd. He will obviously join on to the back of the hypercar class, I'm sure. So he'll move all the way up. Then Peter Meyer down in 44th. Great AM turnout this week as well. We're going to have 7 cars battling it out in the LMGT3 AMs. Looking forward to that one. We've got Stephen Miller in there, Stuart Barge, Petravki, Kruger, Matty Overton and Kataranakis. That's going to be a class to look out for here this evening. So pay attention. Right, ladies and gentlemen, you have got about 90 seconds to run and grab a drink, get your popcorn, get your snacks, get your Pringles, get whatever you want, because I can tell you what, if we get through turn 1 with 28 hypercars that don't cause one bit of drama, we've got better racers than in the F1. If we don't, I'm expecting this to go absolutely dramatic. We will bring replays, but let's do it after lap 1, get lap 1 out of the way, and we'll catch up with everything that's going to happen at the start, because I can tell you what, it's going to be dramatic. Alex, final word from you. What do we think is going to happen?
Hold on for the ride, folks. It's going to be a bumpy one.
Absolutely. All I had in my head then, Alex, was Harry Potter, the head on the bus. We're going to be a bumpy ride. Anyway, Ross, final one from you. What do we think? Ross?
Good luck.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Thanks, Ross, for that. Yeah, Ross with the insightfulness there. But you can see why he drives, can't you? You know what I mean? Right.
He's like, thank God I'm not out there.
Yeah, I know. He's probably sitting there praying. You know what I mean? Sitting there with his Batman helmet and his cape on, just pretending he's Batman. And one of the things I am worried about here, there is not a big gap between GT3s and the hypercars. If the hypercars go bang, the GT3s are going to be coming in like an absolute bowling ball and a pinball. So hold on to your hats on that one, because I would be wanting to drop back a little bit further if I was leading the GT3s from Dan Kirby at that one. ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there they are. The GT3 is not very far back at all, unless all of a sudden they're going to hit the brakes. We're going to have about a 4-second gap between the hypercars and the GT3s. In goes the pace car. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good luck. Let's see how they get on. I can tell you now, it's going to be green very, very shortly. Round 2 at Sebring. 2 hours is going to be green. Finally, up they go. Out in front at this moment in time there on the, you can see it on your screen, Ben Kesby leading down into turn 1. They're already 2 and 3 wide, 4 wide. There are drivers all over the place at this moment in time. Here comes the GT3. Dan Kirby's got the lead in the GT3s. There goes, that's the Lexus. That's the Lexus. David Junt has just gone off at the side of the circuit there as well. We're catching up with the front. Ben Kesby still out in front on the way round, down through Gurney Bend we go. It's a hypercar. Ben Kesby still leading the race, Alex. There was drama for David Junt. I'm sure there's going to be more.
Yeah, and to get through turn 1 with 44 cars in total and only David Junt ending up exit stage right, that was very, very lucky.
Oh, no.
No, that's one of the Toyotas of the barriers, I think.
Yeah, down at the bottom there by the hairpin on the run round. Up through Fangio, we think it's George who may have gone off. There's going to be a lot more drama there as well. There's GT3s in the hypercars.
Yeah, and
there was not a big gap. There was not a big gap, Ross. This is always going to happen if the hypercars went off.
I think they got held up over at Hairpin as we saw one of the Toyotas. Yeah, right there. I think that was Ryan Paulbert Reyes. He got caught up. A lot of
George
the
is there as well. Ross, are we going to? Are they going to? Do you think they're going to look at that start because that gap from GT3s, was it enough? They got 2 seconds
I think it
behind.
was. Yeah, the gap was good. I think that just when they got to Hairpin, they were still pretty close together. And as soon as the field gets clogged up there, I mean, everyone's coming in so fast. If traffic stopped like it looked like it was, then there's just not enough time really to be able to get them separated.
Yeah, you can see on the left-hand side briefly there was 30 seconds between the whole field from Ben Kesby right the way down. I think it was who was down right away at the bottom here in the GT3 AMS. 30 seconds to Katarinakis in 34th place. That was a bit of a wild one, and I'm sure there's going to be more, but at the moment we've got Ben Kesby out in front in the Ferrari 499. Tom Lane sitting in second. Noel Graff leading the Hypercar AMS with John Mayer tucked in right behind him. Dan Kirby leading the GT3 Pros with Alan Holden only three tenths in behind him. Petrafsky leading the GT3 AMS. He's side by side with Barge at the moment. They're 0.27 seconds apart. He's gone down there. Petrafsky and Barge were very, very close on that run in through turn number 1. He's settled down on the way to 2, but they are going to be side by side again here. Petrafsky sits in behind Barge at the moment. He's trying to get that lead off him, Alex. Great action down in the LMGT3 AMS. I thought it was coming with some of the drivers we got in there.
Yeah, Petrafsky's got Katarinakis behind him. Jerry Chen, just seen on the live timings, has been shown as a DNF. So the Hypercar AM class leader into the second round, already striking trouble. George Angelidis has got himself up to 37th overall, so we've got another car barreling straight on at the hairpin. Again, that part of the circuit, that is not an easy part to negotiate. Ben Kesby now has stretched out his lead over Tom Lane to about 1.7 seconds, and he's running 50.2. Lane's running a 51.3, low 51.3. So Jerry Chen might be the first casualty, and he's not even got through the first lap. Meantime, George Angelidis, who's 9.4 seconds behind Mike Bewis in the number 98 Toyota, he's got a lot of real estate Rice to get. He's got to try and close in on Bice over this part of the opening stint. Got a yellow out in sector number 3, but again, I did say that this was going to be a bumpy ride. It has been for Jerry Chen. He's eliminated early. We're not even 4 minutes in.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got George Angelidis already making his way through traffic. That's not because he's lapping them and he's out in front already. It's because he got caught up down at the hairpin. Had to wait for the field to go through. That was from the start. If you've just joined us as well, the start was very, very chaotic. There was an incident down at the hairpins. The GT3s weren't very far behind there either. Unfortunately, they all got caught up in the hairpin. That put George Angelidis right down in the mix. He's got John Uyan already. George is going to get practice at overtaking traffic this early on here, Ross. It's going to be a bit of a mission. I've got an interesting thing for you as well. Jerry Chen has his engine died when he got T-boned. He had a flashing engine light on the HUD and it wouldn't restart, Ross. Car troubles already.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising because as chaotic as that was down in Hairpin, usually you're pretty good on the brakes. So even if you do kind of clatter about on each other, I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be an engine loss. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, this is down into turn number 1. There's Eric Monet in that blue and white machine. Runs a little bit wide. He's going to be bouncing. He's going to get hit by somebody coming on. It's going to be a side-by-side elbows out moment there. And unfortunately for Benet, sits all the way down and then hits the brakes because everybody checks up. Didn't anticipate it. Drops down into the GT3 field. That's what we're saying about the space between the two. If we can get Jerry Chen's incident on the screen, that would be absolutely amazing to find out where he got T-boned. So then we've got Ray, Norm Graff leading the Hypercar AMS at the moment. John Mayer tucked in right behind him. Gap starting to spread from the lead cars here, Alex. Do we think this is going to be a trend that's going to continue? Or do we think these guys are going to start to settle down and maybe come back together?
Well, I mean, the thing is when you've got Ben Kesby, who's now 1 minute and 33 seconds ahead of Simon Kingsbury, who's the 42nd and last car on the field. I mean, Jerry Chen we saw earlier on, he just pulled to the side. So we're going to have a look at the replay now. And this is not
the hairpin.
Yeah, this is going to be dead.
Okay.
Watch, bang!
Yeah.
Oi. That is what. Now, that amount of impact at that high speed, that will definitely kill an engine.
Absolutely, I do agree. We've lost Concalves as well. The internet went down for a moment, flashed him and cut him out. That he's out. I can't repeat what he said underneath that, but he ain't very happy. Let's just put it that way for Vinicius Concalves. So we've lost him. We've lost Jerry Chen. We're only barely 5 minutes in, I think. I think we may have just crossed the 5-minute board here. There's still more action to come. You can see Graff and Meyer in the Hypercar AMS. One of the closest battles on the screen at this moment in time. I'm sure we'll be able to look at that situation that's happening currently at the moment. In Matt Bice is there as well. Stephen Bice, he's not too far away from Ollie Day currently. He either battles down in the GT3s. Dan Fawler and JT Tammy not far apart whatsoever. Petravki, Katarinakis, and also Peter Meyer down in the GT3 AMS. That's where a lot of fighting, I think. Ross down in that GT3 AM category. Some great drivers down there. Matty Overton, Barge, Miller, Petravki, Kruger, Katarinakis, Meyer. It's going to be immense, but we've got Norm Graff, John Meyer in the Hypercar AMS. We did just say they were close together. They are having a go at each other around that final corner.
Oh.
Norm Graff, elbow to elbow with Meyer. They're out at the moment on the run down into turn number 1. There's alls in the background from all already. Down into turn number 1, side by side. It looks like Meyer's going to hold it. It should be, but Graff's going to win the inside for turn number 2 here. Can't hold it at the moment. John Mayer straight round the outside of Norm Graff in turn 1. Alex got the job done by the time he hit 2.
Yeah, but look at Matthew Bice, he's right with them. So we got 3 different manufacturers. We've got Caddy, Aston, and now Toyota into the fray for the Hypercar AM lead. Kevin Garlord in the Genesis, number 10, is in the pit. Simon Kingsbury in the 68 is just DNF in one of the 2 LMGT3 Mercedes. But yeah, I did say this is going to be a bumpy ride. I mean, we saw with Norm Graff trying to go to the inside of turn 1 of John Mayer, the back end of that Aston Martin Valkyrie. And now Norm was one of the early adoptees, the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Oh, sideways there from Bice. He just about caught the back end of that Toyota. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely amazing there from Matty Bice. He has got Stephen coming in behind him as well. The Bice brothers going to be on top of the leaders of the Hypercar AMS very, very shortly. Norm Graff and John Mayer, and then we've got Ollie Day. He's gone. He must have had some drama somewhere, Ollie Day, because he's dropped all the way down at the order, I think, at the moment as well. He's not where he should be. I'm pretty sure of that one. He's down behind the Hypercar AM, sitting in 18th place at the moment. Gilles Lalonde in 19th. There's the GT3s, JT Tammy and John Uyan. JT in the Lexus, John Uyan in the Porsche, of course, as they're battling away, chasing down the Mercedes currently of William Snowden. Let's see how they get on. Ross, this has been thick, fast, chaotic, it's been it all already, and we're only 10 minutes in.
Yeah, a lot of scrapping going on here, and a lot of the drivers trying to stay on top of their cars. And I noticed as the Bice brothers were going by that, and you can see some of it there too, that the discs are really starting to glow up. And I just peeked real quick at the temperature. It's warm. It's 30 degrees air, and the track is about 43. So they're already putting those things on their paces. So they got to stay on top of the resources and make sure they're not pushing too hard, or by the end of this stint, they're going to be all over the track.
Yeah, it's going to be a very slidey car if they keep running these tyres as they are at the moment. It's going to go up. Kingsbury out at the same time there. He was sitting in that Genesis GMR. No, Kingsbury in the Mercedes Evo, I should say. This is George Angelidis' moment down into turn number into the hairpin. Bang! Up the rear end of Jerry Chen. That's one way of getting rid of your rival, George, I suppose. Round he goes there onto the grass. Unfortunately for George, bouncing along. I believe he might be waiting for Jerry to come back through.
Yeah.
I think he is at the moment. Obviously got confirmation that Jerry could not get the car started. DNF'd, unfortunately for Jerry. George has had to get on his way. Put him out of position. He's down 25th. He's just cleared the last GT3. So George moving up through the field at this moment in time here, Alex. But he's still got a long way to go to get back to where he was.
Oh, this is really heating up. Snowden has just gone off track. JT, Tammy and the Lexus are trying to go around the outside of him, and this could be an opportunity here for John Uyan to maybe pick up the pieces. And Tammy is still not giving in. He's possibly got the out. Well, this is going to be a right-hander coming up. So front. Did you see how deep that red those brakes on that Lexus RCF were glowing? But Snowden just made a bit of a hash of a couple of corners, and JT Tammy is now seeing the opportunity come his way. He knows that if Snowden makes a mistake in that Merc, he will be through past him without any hesitation whatsoever. And now this is crucial here at Sebring. It is about patience. It is about picking your moments, as they're going to very shortly be going through into Genderbean. Snowden again blocks Tammy, but had the racing line then go through Adam Bishop into Genderbean, now into Lamar. And this is where the Lexus might be able to get the legs on the Mercedes very shortly if Snowden does not activate the corner correctly. However, he does.
Yeah, we'll find out how these guys get on in a moment on that run down the Ormond, down into Sunset now as well. Oh, all right, we're going to a replay here of Dan Fowler looking at the action here behind him, going into the hairpin for the first time. Wow. Fred the Eye, son. Nope, he goes and hits the Tamarero. Now there's people all over the track at the moment there as well. It just looks absolutely like somebody's just thrown Skittles on the floor and say pick a colour. It's going to be absolutely mental. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. JT and Alexis is going to try and run round the outside of that Mercedes. Snowden holds it on, but it's going to give JT the inside for turn 2 if he got a bit of a run. Snowden blocks him off, puts that Mercedes into the middle of the track. The Porsche tucked in behind him at the moment here, and Ross. These three battles, the guys are having a great little battle. But why they're doing this, Alan Holden's escaping, Dan Kirby's escaping. Although it's 2 hours, do they need to be doing this, do they need to be doing this very early on?
Well, they don't need to, but they're probably having a great time doing it. As JT's throwing everything he can to try and...
Oh, the Porsche is coming! Listen, the Porsche is coming, it's going to hit him!
There we go.
Oh, mate!
Very hard on the inside.
Jesus!
Yeah.
God!
I mean, the background, Paula was right behind them as well. He's caught up to Uyan, but this is Kirby's on board.
Dude, that's the only way.
Up on aisle 3 and get the mop out, why don't you?
Yeah, that's the only place Kirby could go. That was where Holden sneaked through. But you've seen it there as well, that Porsche, John Uyan. I tell you what, Uyan must have been snapping on that pedal like an absolute trooper. His right leg must be bigger than Ross Smith's left arm at the moment, because he would have been stamping on that to try and get that Porsche to stop. Now it's still the battle in the GT3s. It's Hypercar on the way through as well.
Through here, JP.
He's trying to wiggle his way through at this moment in time. In through Genderbean, coming into Le Mans. It's down that run down the Ormond again, Alex. These guys going to go once more. And now we've got Hypercars just thrown into the mix for good health.
Yeah, Kesby and Lane making their way through. And then in the background, I see Kadabasak, Troy Uyan. Bradley Sellers has just got through on Brian Hall, who's dropped past Witter De Bruyne, as again JT Tammy is trying to put the frighteners on. He's throwing everything including the Japanese kitchen sink, at William Snowden for that 3rd place. But yeah, Uyen is there, Fowler is about 1.4 seconds.
Sort from one, wasn't it? The first lap. Yeah. Just straight through, unfortunately for Mike Bice there. Didn't really see a lot on that one. It's going to be a bit of a mental start. We've known that and we've seen it and we've seen what happened. Let's see for the rest of the race what goes on. Kirby leading the GT3s, Holden, Snowden, JT and Uyan. This is a battle that's not going to stop. Fowler's now catching up as well. I don't think Overton's even a million miles away, or Stuart Barge. I think this could be an interesting little fight developing very shortly. There's a hypercar in the background currently at the moment. He wants to get through. There's a big old set there as well. Oh, a little bit of a nudge. That Porsche, I tell you what, he ain't holding back there, Ross, but John Uyan's got to be careful. That's twice he's had a snap at that Lexus.
Yeah, well, he's very advantageous for any kind of situation that's being presented, and he knows that if he's going to be able to have anything on top of JT Tammy, who's very quick in that Lexus, he's got to try and get it done now, because come later in the race, I don't know if he's going to have as many opportunities.
Yeah, on board with Stuart replay, Stuart Barge here as well, into the hairpin he goes.
Oh, no.
Overcooks it and there, and I think that was somebody else actually spinning in front of Barge.
Yeah, that was one of the McLarens, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Was there a lot more drama there? I think that Porsche may have been slightly involved as well. She can't get a chopper shot to decipher who that was on that one, but these three still going at it full bore at the moment. One of the closest class battles on the racetrack. There's a yellow in sector 2. I'll worry about that in a minute, because you can see on the left hand side there's 3 hypercars. One's tucked in, he pulls out, tries to make the move. He's going to pull out, and all he's going to find is a rear end of a Porsche sat there at the moment. They're going to go side by side currently round that final corner. They're going to try and sweep round the outside here. That wash is going to wash out. It's going to wash. Oh my God. The Lexus was going to wash out.
Bradley Sellers has just done a number on Riley Koenig. That was for 5th place. But Bradley Sellers, out of Sunset, threaded the eye of the needle in that BMW number 24 hypercar. That's the move of the day so far, but it was millimetre perfect. He could have been a couple of mils away. But now we've got Kingsbury.
Hypercar, that's his DNF, isn't it, I think?
Yeah. Yeah, this is in the Mercedes. Oh, no.
Oh.
Right side took a big old smack in the barriers. I mean, he was off on the unfortunate Joker lap, and the right side went bang straight into the barriers, and that was it. He was out.
Absolutely there as well. Nice efforts not to get hit there as well. That was at the beginning. Morbo, I inherited Ben's luck today. Here we go.
No. JT Tabby's trying it again.
He's trying to go around the outside. Yeah, he's settled in there. He's had to go in behind him now. In through Cunningham, Collier, Tower Turn. JT in this Lexus, Ross, is not one we've seen fighting, but JT seems to be grabbing his Lexus by the horns and dragging it up to the front of the GT3s here. He is having a right proper, as you put it earlier on, Ross, ding-dong with Snowden.
Yeah, he's very confident in this car. He does very well with front engine cars where the balance is like that, because he's so confident pushing through some of those corners.
Yeah, this is that replay of Kevin in the Genesis.
Whoa! That is not what you want from the latest Korean hypercar to go flying like that. Look, that's on the right front.
That's more like a Robin Reliant, Alex, rather than a hypercar there at the moment.
Yeah, Robin Reliant with a stick behind it in the wheel, going down a slant, turning left in top gear.
Yeah, absolutely. Driven by Del Boy. And if you don't know who that is, search Only Fools and Horses. And if you don't, where the hell have you been? Right, these guys still battling away. Oh, we got a replay coming up on the screen at the moment. Oh, it sweeps round. There you go. Avoiding that car that was upside down and round there at the same time. But lots more action. We've got Borman in YouTube chat. Sorry, Jerry, he's put. So it's a lot of action. There's somebody. Oh, there's a hypercar situation going on through the background. They're trying to come through these GT3s, Ross. They're catching them at horrible points on the circuit. You can see now we've got Norm Graff. He's going to try and dive up the inside here. What are you doing in the hypercar when you're catching them here? Are you just going to sit and wait? or you're going to become impatient and start the GT hypercar battle conversation?
It's going to depend on who you are and what's happening around you. But I mean, obviously, you always want to advocate for patience, especially early on in the race like we are. But that doesn't mean it's always going to happen. As we jump to a replay, there's lots of brown flags going on here. Let's look at Luciano.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Started off with JT. Wow, JT and Alexis. Yeah, sending each other.
Oh, it's David Young again.
Yeah, before she goes round.
Oh, is that Alan Smith or his teammate? I can't remember who was running, which one of the Acuras.
We'll find out in a minute on that one, but yeah, lots of action still coming here.
Yeah, Stuart Barge, I've just seen is in pit lane, guys.
Early on.
He is, yeah.
So we've already had Gallor, Kingsbury, and Chen retire. Could Barge be number 4? And when you think of it, 20 minutes in, I think.
Yeah, I think Stuart Barge may have had some drama there, Alex.
Possibly. If it's been a server-imposed penalty to drive down pit lane, but
we'll see. Yeah, Matty Overton still leading the GT3 AMS.
There's no let-up on these replays, are there?
No, there's one after the other here. We don't want to broadcast the replays. There is live action, but we'll catch it up. There you go, off the bike. That's one of the bices. No. Sent him off into yonder. Upside down.
Oh, he did.
Wheels off.
Right front. Yeah. Came off the car.
Bye-bye, Stuart Barge. Unfortunately for him, he's now got a Robin Reliant there as well. Still, that was an incident with one of the bices on that one. Can we get some GT3 action, please? That's what we've been asked as well. We can, but the GT3 AMs at the moment are a little bit more spread out. The only one close to each other are Kataranakis and Kruger in that GT3 AMs. This is the GT3 Pros has really been kicking off. There you can see the AMs on your screen. Kataranakis and Kruger. Kataranakis in behind Kruger at the moment. So once they get closer, we will bring them up. But William Snowden, JT Tammy still 2 tenths apart at the moment. They're on your screen now. You can see this is going to kick off. Once again, David Shunt battling away for 7th place in the GT3s there at the moment. Stephen Miller not too far away. Alexander Schultz almost alongside. You can see these hypercars trying to wiggle round. This is one of the problems. Somebody's run up a little bit wide, and this is what we were expecting, Alex. Is this going to be every single lap? Are we going to see this all the time? And is this due to miscommunication?
Yeah, I think it's more the case of, I did say about patience. You've got to pick your moments here at Sebring. And what we are seeing is that drivers are wanting to stamp their authority in certain battles. But here comes JT Tammy. Look to the inside. Here at Sunset Bend, he leaves it late. This could be the opportunity that JT Tammy has been waiting for. We've got a yellow out in Sector 3. They're wheel-to-wheel coming out of the final corner. Keep your eyes on Uyan, not too far behind. As an Acura comes flying its way through. I think that's Ollie Day that's just made his way past. JT Tammy has finally broken through the Mercedes deadlock. That is Snowden for P3 in the class.
Oh, Snowden's going to come back at him and sends him in deep into 2. Snowden keeps the inside line of the Mercedes, now through the wiggle of the right, now through the left. I don't think Snowden's done here, Ross. I think Snowden's going to have a go at JT with the Porsche tucked in behind. JT's done all the work. He's managed to clear Snowden at the moment, but I don't think Snowden's going to let him get away, Ross.
No, this is a dogfight for sure. I've never seen JT go so emphatically, and yeah, he didn't even bother blocking him off. But he will do the crossover and try and hold him, but he's going to have the outside going in through this next sweeper. Side by side down to the
JT there trying to run alongside Snowden now as well. In through the right-hander they go. This is the run in through Cunningham, now through the left of Collier. JT and Snowden are not doing this at the moment. They are not giving each other a single thing, a single parlay, a single move. Snowden swapped underneath him. It's now going to be a ding-dong run. Down through the right-hander, through Bishop, into Genderbeen as well. Through Le Mans at the moment. You can see it's now Snowden in front of JT. JT's going to try again. Uyan sitting there patiently waiting. Side by side in through Genderbeen. Slight contact. Snowden's going to say, Nickers, skip the corner. I'm coming back at you, JT. Snowden's coming again. He's got the clubs.
Watch out for
now
Uyan.
Uyan's going to go as well. It's going to be a free wide with a hypercar on the left-hand side. It's going to be a free wide with the GT3s. This is absolutely mental. And we're only 15 minutes into this race. They're not going to manage free wide. Oh, no. He's going to try and go.
I cannot believe it! Uyan's welter!
Takes the lead of the race, but they're not done. Snowden's still coming at him across the line. He's going to have the inside line into Le Mans now. Snowden's going to get Uyan, I think, here. He's going to push him along very, very nicely. He's going to have the inside in for 2 if Snowden can keep it alongside. But John Uyan, if there's a vote for mover of the race, Ross, we've got to give it to him for that one.
God, this is just absolutely insane. We're only an hour and a half left in the race, so like we haven't even gone a quarter in. This is impressive.
Yeah, these guys are going to be coming out. I tell you what, it's going to be sweating harder than
Mix it a blanket.
Yeah, there you go. We're going to be politically correct on that one. There was. I would end up getting myself in trouble if I was really going to say what I wanted. But let's just say
what
they're
Paul
going to be.
said to us just now, because you lot can't hear him.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to keep it clean here as well. It's a Shullalon replay. We're going to have a bit of a replay section here as well. But here we go. That's Jason Tammy. There he goes, off on the left. Well, that was bonkers. I'm not quite sure how he got on the left-hand side there, but he got absolutely mental. But we might have to look at that one again there, ladies and gentlemen, because it was a little bit bizarre why we were focusing. But you can see at the moment, JT down in 5th. He's well behind Snowden now. With these hypercars coming through, it's a 1.1 second gap to Snowden, who's got 1.3 over Uyan. John Uyan absolutely flying in that Porsche there. Absolutely mental. Hypercars in pit lane, Karabasak, Sellers and Day. Currently at the moment, Bice has not been in the hypercar in the pit lane for well over 3 minutes. We will give that overlay a bit of a kick there to get that one going. But at the moment, that was great battling down in the GT3s, Alex. I don't think I can handle that for the whole entire next hour and 30 minutes, though, I've got to be honest.
No, I think you probably have a coronary by the end of it, to be completely honest with you, JP. But the interesting thing I've noticed, gentlemen, George Angelidis has gone with hard tyres on his Acura number 93. Now, Ross, this means I've got a question for you. In terms of the tyre degradation, I mean, we're talking 30 air, 46 centigrade track temp. Has George decided to play his trump card, so to speak?
I think this is always in the cards for him. Those hard tires perform much better when it's hotter out, and knowing George, he's probably cooking his fronts dramatically. That's so bizarre.
Whoa.
Is that Jules Lalonde?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's got to be mechanical or something technical.
There's got to be some form of drama there as well. I think
he may have been hit before.
Yeah,
possibly.
there may have been contact on that one. But you see now, battle with Tammy, that Tammy-Snowden battle settled down a little bit. None of the hypercar arms are really, really close together. Miller and Petrovsky, a couple of seconds in between them at the moment. And then we got Koenig and De Bruyn. They're having a bit of a battle in the hypercar pros, of course. But I've got to be honest, this is one of the mentalist starts I've ever watched here. I think, Alex, at the beginning of Sebring, it's been absolutely bonkers.
It has bonkers, I think, is probably an understatement, being politically correct here, JP. Absolute. It's been a maniacal first. What is it? We're coming up to nearly the opening quarter of the race, and no one has. No one's been able to get into that flow state where they're able to run their own races. We still continue to watch Riley Koenig in the number 34 Ferrari 499 battling over with Woods De Bruyn. I mean, you know, it's basically more Bo in chat saying, I see a lot of hypercars passing on the outside of GT3s on the exit of Sunset. That's insanity. Well, if you did see Bradley Sellers move a few laps ago, that was more than insanity. It was downright stones and then some. And he said that's asking for the Corvette one finger salute. Now, if you folks know at home what that is relating to, I'm going to mention two drivers, Daniel Cadea and Augusto Farfus. That's all I need to say on that one. But it just goes to show the difference that we're seeing between the hypercars and also the GT3s. Now, at the moment, looking at the GT3s, we've got now in LMGT3 itself, we've got two of the top three in the LMGT3s. They are both Porsches. So Daniel Kirby leading. Alan Holden, who we've seen in previous series, is in the Ferrari 296, now switching to the Temerario GT3. He's second in the class. John Uyan, after mugging both Snowden and Tammy, who were battling like two petulant children in the playground over the last swing, over third position. You've then got a Ferrari leading with Matthew Overton in GT3 AM, and then Petrafsky and Kruger rounding out the top three in the AM class. And then you've got Katarinakis, who's actually closing in on Daryl Kruger for that third spot.
Lots of action going on. Katarinakis is there. You can see him in that Mustang. Kruger in front of him, of course, here in the McLaren 720S Evo. Ross, if you're in this race, dude, you'd be sweating absolute buckets by now. This has been a bit of a mental start. It's starting to settle down now. Thank God, you know what I mean? And but we've still got battles happening. Where are we at, do you reckon, in fuel, in strategy, and what are we working on in this kind of point of the race?
Well, I think it's for the GT3s. You're pretty much just doing everything you can to make sure that you fill out 4 full stints, so 3 stops throughout the race. And I think that's going to be relatively easy for them. You might have some variances in pit stop timing, so they might be looking at that. Maybe if 1 or 2 could eke out a little bit more. I don't know if you can get a full lap. Some of it might depend on the car and the driver. But if you could do that, then that can set you up later in the race for sure. Maybe doing a little bit of short filling, some of that's in the cards. For the hypercars, I think that they're going to be looking at how the opening stint's been, chaos, and then going from there to try and come up with ideas of what they're going to do. Like you saw with, Alex was saying with George taking on the hards, that's going to help him early on if he's somebody who's been using up his tires. If you've got someone else who's stuck on softs or started with hards and are trying to double or maybe even triple stint, then they're going to be maybe taking it just a little bit easier and trying to make up that time on track. So everybody's kind of doing their own thing based off of what their cars and their skills will give them. So we'll just see how this goes. But it's, time to catch your breath.
Yeah, absolutely. This bit in the middle is giving us a little bit of a break here. Katarinakis and Kruger still providing the action. Keep an eye on Monet. Looks like he's going for 4 stops instead of 5. Unlike the other hypercar AMs, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's going to have a go. There's yellow in sector 2. Now at this moment in time, we'll find out who that is. But this has just been absolutely bonkers. I'm going to need some fruit lozenges after this one if it carries on with this amount of action that we've had here as well. Eric Monet and Chavot in the hypercar AMs sitting 6/10. Well, they were. It's now out 1.1. Listen, this is the battle going on the screen. It may have caused that. David Schultz not far apart in the GT3 AMs. And then, of course, we're looking at the Kruger Katarinakis battle. This is one of the closest battles on the racetrack at this moment in time here. I would have thought, Ross, this really would have sorted out. This really, let me rephrase that. This really would have been a track for this Mustang and Katarinakis. Lots of power corners, lots of, keeping on the power for long periods of time here. Is it not really a track for the Mustang, do we think?
It should be. It's a car that tends to understeer, which over a lot of the bumps, I think is something that you want to pull out of your car. I think that it just comes down to the way it's being driven. I know that Vasilis hasn't had a ton of time to be able to get behind the wheel and put some practice laps in. So unfortunately, there just aren't a lot of other Mustangs in the field to kind of get a good comparative to. But I know that it did pretty well here at VMSC on the NARS sister race that was held on Thursday. So it has a lot of potential. I know that there are some BOP adjustments that are coming to it to give it either a little bit reduction in weight or better tire management. So some of that might be going through and playing out so far in the early on for Vasilis, but it should be a good car overall, especially coming out of this race.
Let's see how Katarinakis gets on here. This This is non-graph. Having a bit of drama onto the grass. He's not going to get that stopped. Brake, don't work on grass in these cars, Ross. You know, they're very, very slick tyres. Very difficult to get a car stopped on the grass here, especially at places like Sebring.
Yeah, he came in pretty fast on that corner. You could tell just by the attitude of it, and he just, he caught it out wide. And that's going to be something that I think we're going to see a lot more as time goes on and the drivers pull out through here. If they haven't done anything with their tires, I know that coming out of the pits, if you're on used tires and you filled it up, the shift in the weight and the balance of the car is so dramatic. It can catch a lot of people out. Even if it feels kind of the same at first, you'll just come to that one corner that you feel like you've been taking the whole time the exact same way, and suddenly it just isn't. So I think that might be something what we saw just now.
Yeah, absolutely. The Porsche peels off there for Schultz. There is something going on with the Hypercar GT3s in the background there. They were running 2-3 wide almost down the Ullman in through Sunset. But let's keep an eye on what goes on here. Once again, it's starting to spread people out now after that chaotic start. Dean Clark and Mike Bice are close together in the Hypercar AMS. That's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on and see how that fuel in that fire develops there as well. You see the names going across the top part of the screen. JT Tammy and David Judd, both in the Lexus RCF GT3. There was also a car change as well. I picked up on Ryan Paulbert Reyes come out of the Porsche for this one, Ross, and he's in the Toyota.
Yeah, that was a bit of a change for sure. I mean, he spent quite a bit of time working on the liveries for sure for the Porsches, and then I know that he was showing off some of the Toyota things that he'd done. I think he just said that that car was it felt good to him, and he just wanted to make the switch. So here we are.
Are we going to have to tattoo his insides, Ross? Because normally we cut him open and it's his Porsche on the inside. Are we going to have to change it to a deserter or anything there for Ryan Reyes?
You sound like George, but yeah, that's. I don't know that he was so much.
Oh, Miller!
Isn't it?
No, it's not Miller, is it? Who was that? That's in the McLaren, I think. 720S there has just gone round.
Kruger?
Yeah, it might be Kruger or because that ain't Miller.
It is.
Miller's in his green and orange like normal on this one. So we'll see what goes on there as well. I believe it might have been Maximilian Petrovsky. There's a squeaky voice in my ear on that one. Let's have a look at the replay
They weren't mine.
and see what goes on. I wonder if there was contact or did Petrovsky just leave it all on his own there? No, he loses it all on his own. He goes round, unfortunately, and just faces the wrong way. So let's see what continues to go on there as well. Toyota gave Ryan a suitcase with money. Ross, that guy on YouTube chat as well, for him to desert Ryan Paulbert Reyes' traditional Porsche. What do we think, Ross? Was there a sponsorship deal from Paulbert Reyes there?
No comment.
So let's see how it goes on. We got Alex back in the booth as well. Oh, he's cutting on the grass there as well, unfortunately.
I was going to say if the Nikkei was going to say the yen was good against the dollar, then right, got on a good deal. You know, you never know.
Yeah, maybe he might have been offered something there for Paul Reyes. The conspiracy could go on forever here, Alex, doesn't it? We normally say there's no smoke without fire, so let's just. I'm sure there wasn't a paid confirmation going on at all. Oh, no, that one. Matty Bice chasing down on Jeff Mayer at the moment in the Hypercar AMS. This is a battle for second place overall. They're past the Lexus there as well. This is going to be a looming battle for the next hour and 20 minutes, Alex. I think that brief 5-minute moment gave us time to catch our voices, get drinks and whatever else. But it was a chaotic start, wasn't it?
Stone the bleeding crows is all I'm saying about that one, JP, because you and I, like, we've commentated on plenty of races here. I have never seen so much madness in the first 30 minutes of a 2-hour enduro. So I'm going to say that again, 30 minutes. I've seen races that have been like 40 minutes long, and they've had about a third, maybe even a tenth of the action that we've seen in the round.
Exactly. Definitely not like watching the F1 at Monaco there as well. Mr. Bartlett in YouTube chat, this looks awesome. It is definitely, it's absolutely mental. 40 cars now on the racetrack, because we've lost 3 already. We lost Jerry Chen, whose car wouldn't start after getting absolutely T-boned like a steak in a steakhouse. Then Simon Kingsbury, unfortunately, he went out as well. We've lost Vinicius Calves. He had internet issues. Kirby and Snowden have jumped into pit lane, so that's going to be an interesting one here as well. Meyer and Bike still having a good old battle up in that Hypercar AMS. They're not very far apart whatsoever. JC Tammy and David Jun are 13 seconds. If we could pick up on the Meyer battle, that would be absolutely amazing, Mr. Producer, as they are not stopping away from each other at this moment in time. Meyer Bice going full absolutely gloves off here. Bice is going to tuck in, down the Ullman we go. Is this going to be where that Toyota TRO is going to be quick? He goes on the inside of the Cadillac. They're going to be running side by side. Cadillac had no response there. John Mayer, Ross, was it a defense that he didn't feel he needed to make? Or did he just have nothing for that Toyota?
I think he was too far back. Yeah, he wasn't just going to be able to do much for, which is kind of bizarre, because John Mayer's a bit more aggressive, but maybe he's just kind of calling it back right now. And I mean, Matthew Bice, of all the Bice brothers, I'd say he's probably the quickest, and he's certainly been able to show that right now. Though I think was it Steven who's up in front of him right now? Yeah. Just after the pit stops. So you saw early on when we had that really good fight at the top of the Hypercar AMS, you know, the Bice brothers were kind of just chilling in the background and just very slowly reeling them in, and they were certainly throwing the tires around on both of their cars. So yeah, I'd keep an eye out on these guys. They've definitely got something sorted out, I think, with the balance of these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's more to come from all the way through this race here as well. It's great to see the Bices. They switched up into Hypercars last season. They had a bit of a rough season. It was a very steep learning curve after being in GT3s here, but they've done an absolutely amazing job, and we've got a Bice 1-2 there as well, which is great to see. Take a picture of it, because I'm not quite sure how often we're going to see it, but Stephen and Matthew leading the field. John Mayer sitting in third. Hypercar in behind that, Ollie Day, Ryan Paulbert Reyes, Zachary Chavot, Mike Bice. We just need Mike up there, Alex, as well. And it'll be a Bice 1-2-3. How awesome will that be for us to be able to see that one?
Yeah, exactly. But we have had a bit of a change at the front end of LMGT3, because JT Tammy and David Yun, who were leading an Lexus RCF 1-2 in the class, have now been overtaken by Daniel Kirby in the number 90 Porsche 911 GT3, so he's back to the lead in the class.
Yeah.
But Oliver Day and Ryan Paulbert Reyes, they're battling away for position at the moment. Now this is for 13th and 14th in the Hypercar side of things. That's 16th and 17th overall, as we're coming up towards the 3/4 of an hour mark. A big thank you to everyone that's watching at the moment, that's already been tuning in and chatting along. So if you are in chat, don't forget to give us a like, share and subscribe on the respective channels. Also, show your support for who you're cheering on for today. So I hope you've got your popcorn, your everything choice and all that. Yeah. Here we go. They're going to have a replay. Now this is Katrinakis. Oh, no.
Was there anything there, Alex? Was there anything there, do you reckon?
Well, I don't know, but I think maybe.
Was there a contact? Or did that Mustang just kind of lose its way a little bit?
Well, I think the Mustang losing its way. Yeah,
oh, come on, mate. It wouldn't be the first time we accused the Mustang of losing its way in any form of simulators we've commentated on, have we?
To be honest with you, there might have been a slight glancing blow to the right front fender of the Mustang on that one.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can get a close-up on that one. Holden and Uyan now back together in the GT3 AMS. Of course, Kirby out in front after they all went in pits. Interested to see that Uyan, Holden are ahead of Snowden and Tammy. John Uyan, Alex driving absolutely out of his skin at the moment. They were locked up in that right little ding-dong. Now he's got ahead of him. He's got Holden in behind him. He's jumped Holden as well in the Tamarero. You know, there they are on the screen just on the bottom. It's been tough for John Uyan, but he's managed to pull that car from 4th to 2nd, and that's purely his own doing. That's nothing. He's not been given anything. No incidents. He's done a great job with it.
I think it was when we saw William Snowden and JT Tammy battling like two children in the playground over that third spot. What Ian was doing was exactly what I was saying earlier on. He was being patient. He was letting the race come to him, whereas Snowden and Tammy were smacking seven bells out of each other. Yeah. So, and it got to that point where you didn't know whether Snowden was going to go rally crossing, whether Tammy was going to lose the back end. And Ian just went, hold the beer, up the inside, sunset bend, and he gets the buy one, get one free special. But now he's got Alan Holden.
Oh, they're on the screen. They're on the screen behind the hypercars.
You've got now Albert Reyes up the inside.
That hypercar's off!
Oh! I do not like to see that, and that was not the place for Oliver Day to swipe right, to turn right and broadsided the left side of the Temerario of Alan Holden, who then cannonballed into John Uyan, who was very much in his right to say, hang on, that second place is mine. These hypercars, they are getting a little bit too eager.
Yeah, I'm going to interject for a minute there as well, because I'm going to interject because they got the overtake done going into the braking zone. Ollie Day was on the outside. He went in deep. He missed the braking zone. He missed the apex. He went in deep. The GT3s were coming. I don't think they could do a lot with him. He ran in deep to try and get the corner back. And of course, at this point, the Tamarero and Porsche tucked up right beside him. I do agree with you. I think they need to calm down a little bit, but I'm also do agreeing that maybe that wasn't necessarily Ollie Day's fault, and he over missed his braking point here, but that Tamarero was alongside. So it's 6-1, half a dozen of the other on that
Here
one.
we go.
There's Karanakis' battle. Oh,
there's the glance. I told you with regards to Karanakis, it was the slightest, but that's an that was at over 150 miles an hour.
Yeah, I think he tickled his beard on that one. That was George on that one. Ross, welcome back in there, dear sir, as well. It hasn't stopped, Ross. The action's still going.
No, this is great to see. I'm sure they're all sweating. I'm sure there's all kinds of sweary bits going on into the helmets for each one of them. But yeah, as you're saying, it's very close out there, and this is always one of those tracks where it's a lot of high-speed sections. There isn't a whole lot of room, and just because of the nature of the track, it narrows and widens in very interesting ways that create those pinch points. And as you're going in and committing, sometimes you're not going to quite hit those spots where you think you're going to have as much room as you can. And I think we just saw a good example of that with George and Vasilis as they were going through the twisty bits there on the backside of the track.
Yeah, I think we've always talked about this, especially when myself, JP, and you were doing the commentary on the very early mornings for myself and JP on the NARS side of things, where we were like saying that it is down to the faster vehicles to make the moves safely and cleanly. Now, from my aspect with regards to what happened with Ollie, with regards to Alan and with John, I think it was, Ollie made a mistake. He'll probably put his hands up to it and say, look, it's my mistake, whatever penalty comes my way, I'll take it on the chin. But then you could see it from the aspects of how it nearly caused 3 cars to be eliminated on a very, very tight point of the circuit, Ross. And that's the thing here. We said about Sebring that you've got to, you and I have mentioned this multiple times, and I don't mind mentioning it again. It is about that patience. And when we saw John Williams move up the inside of William Snowden and JT Tammy for P3 out of Sunset Bend, as we've got Educadabasak on, I think that's on screen, or is that Troy Uyan? I'm not sure. That's Educadabasak, the second of the British Turkish racing cars, and he's trying to close in on Bradley Sellers, who's made, I think, one of the best moves in the hypercar side of things so far in this race, where he threaded the eye of the needle between, again, Messrs Snowden, Tammy and Uyan whilst they were battling. Where was it, folks? Turn 17, Sunset Bend. So it has been that case that we've seen some drivers, as we've got a yellow, so
small technical issue. Yeah, I fully agree with you, Alex. I think that's very well put in terms of just having the patience through here, and in the case of that Ollie Day situation, I think it's just one of those things where, yeah, he made a mistake, and unfortunately, everybody was kind of on top of each other through there. But yeah, it's very difficult going through each one of these sections. It's very close. Everyone's very on top of each other. They have been through this entire first almost third of the race, so they've just got to make sure that they're paying attention and having onus on what they're doing. It's the classic back and forth between the upper and lower classes of like hypercar versus GT. They're always going to be kind of pointing the finger at each other, like, you need to get out of my way, or you need to watch out when you're coming through, and picking your lines. And so there is a bit of that, but it's always going to come back to hypercars coming through. They need to pay attention, and GT3s, if be predictable, follow your line, and in the end, it should work out. Should.
Yeah, of course, folks. Yeah, we just please bear with us. We are having some technical difficulties with regards to the stream at the moment. But yeah, we're now seeing a second run of pit stops. Mike Bice is in, George Angelidis, Wouter de Bruyne from fifth spot on fifth position. Magnus Dahlgren, who we've not really talked about in the 007 Toyota, has now decided to come in. I think I was expecting, if I'm honest, Ross, a hell of a lot more attrition than what we've actually had, where we've had 43 cars go to green, and with 1 hour and 8 minutes and 40 seconds left on the counter until the checkered, we still have 40 cars. And that just goes to show that once we had the first set of pit stops happen, it kind of gave the drivers the impetus of, okay, relax. If you need tyres, get tyres on. Get some fuel in that car. Get some hydration down. Think about your next strategic plan of action. So it's just the case of hoping that the race, as I said, referenced John Uya, and for it to all work that way.
Yeah, it's certainly that pit stop has helped to break some things up. Although, as you can see on screen, it's still very much a point of making sure that you're paying attention to traffic, because like you said, it's over 40 cars on a track that, while it is long, it's certainly not a freeway. There aren't a ton of areas where you can kind of keep space with one another, but it's I would say, as far as the attrition point that you made, it is and it isn't in some ways. Like, I certainly was not expecting on the first lap, to lose Jerry Chen before, like, right at the hairpin. That was just such a terrible crash, and then to have two more that were just like Cadillac the last time WEC was here, with both the Genesis and I think it was the Stuart Barge and Ferrari, where they both went off of the tire walls and losing their front tires, like, just at insane speeds and clips, where all it was just a small knock, just getting offline. That's how this track is. There is really not a whole lot to do once the car kind of gets away from you, and we've seen it from so many drivers now. But that's why you need to make sure that you're paying attention and not pushing the envelope and taking more than your fair share.
Yeah. Let's welcome back into the booth James Parfitt. James, the race has started to get into that kind of flow state where the drivers can actually breathe a little bit more and they can strategize a bit better, especially with the keys to the race that you were discussing earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the part now where they're going to just sort of chill out, try and get into some form of flow. Monet and Bice, however, in the Hypercar Rams are still going full header, bringing the hell to leather up the front. Kesby Lane and Karabsak in pit lane again. We're in that third stop phase now for the Hypercars. I think it's going to be an interesting run for the next hour here. This is all about just basically sitting back, seeing if you're on target. Can you get to the fuel? What's your situation going on? What's going to happen here as well? So there's a lot of things still to play for here, but at least the Hypercar Rams are bringing us the battles at the moment. with that Bice Monet. They're literally 2 tenths apart at this moment in time. I'm sure we'll get them up on your screen, so we'll be able to see what's going on with them, because they are having a right little bit of a ding-dong at the moment there, Alex. And at the moment in time, Monet nestled in. There was talk of Monet trying to fuel save earlier on, trying to cut it down into 3 stops rather than 4. That's going to be a very interesting one if he manages in there. I don't even know if that's going to be possible at Sebring, that he can completely eliminate a stop.
Well, no, not really, because of the fact that as I said, your head's constantly on a swivel. You're looking at your tyre temps, your tyre degradation, how much fuel, how many litres per lap you're using. Because there's a lot of braking, a lot of acceleration zones here at Sebring, as we've got Peter Meyer closing in on Vasilis Katarinakis. This is for 4th position in the GT3 AM class. So, I mean, the good thing is, nice to see. If I'm honest here, Ross, it's a car that doesn't get much showcasing when it comes to leads of this sort. The RCF, which in due course will be replaced by the Toyota GR GT3, which has definitely caught a lot of people by surprise. But I still remember the likes of Ben Barnicoat with Vasta Sullivan Racing back in the IMSA GTE days, with the bright high-vis paint jobs that we see for JT Tammy and David Yunt. It's great that this car is still quite competitive in both respective classes, because it was very much a quite underrated vehicle.
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. It was sort of Lexus throwing a performance car into a sports car field with some kind of, early on, like you were talking back in the day, it's like, well, I guess technically you qualify, but it's just one of those cars where it really has made its mark, and it's great to see that GR is coming to life. We actually almost were going to have it ready for this year, and then they said they were pulling out, so we put the brakes on that, let them get their homologation kind of underway. And we get to give it a proper send-off. I'm really pleased to see, like you're saying, that a few drivers have taken the mantle to give it its final voyage, and are doing quite well with it. I mean, we had a fantastic bang-up race at the beginning with JT Tammy, and it's a shame Junt kind of got fired off at the beginning in turn 1, because I think he would have probably been right up in that mix himself, because those two, they have really good pace with each other. JT, his teammate, which I was surprised to see that they were going together. Oh man, Vasilis is really trying to hold on to this thing.
Yeah, there was a big old lock-up from the left rear there, JP. I mean, Katarinakis has been through the ringer here today at Sebring.
Yeah, he definitely has. We were talking earlier on while you were away about the Mustang, and it should be a Mustang track, really. Sebring, excuse me, with the high-speed runs down here. You can see him managing to hold on from Peter Meyer in behind in that Lexus RCF as well. There's 3 of them on the track, Junt and JT in the other ones, of course, but these guys are going to continue to fight on that run down the start-finish straight, coming into 10-1 at the moment. Meyer not close enough this time around. Is he going to be able to get there at all? Well, we're going to find out as this race goes on. We're just breaking near enough into that final hour here as well, Alex, and this is going to make it very, very interesting now. What do you do? Do you try and consolidate where you are? Do you try and play around with your fuel stops to try and move positions? Or do you do what Meyer and Katarinakis do and go and have a right old little ding-dong?
I think at the end of the day, we're still quite early in the season. So, it will come to that point where strategy is going to be quite prevalent. I have to give a shout out to Jerry Chen, who's in chat. He said, Eric's quite good on the left-hand coast. I think he can do it. If he can make it to exactly 1 hour, then he's definitely going to negate one of those pit stops in the hypercar side of things. So that could be quite decisive in the hypercar AM side of things for the race victory.
Yeah, it could be whether or not Monet is going to be able to get that. That's basically a 20-minute stop that he's got to try and wipe off here, Ross. How difficult is that going to be for Monet?
It's tough to say, but having raced with him, I agree with Jerry's statement. He's very good at the lifting coast. He's very good at fuel management. And he's a very quick driver in his own respect, so I think that he could probably pull it up. The Bice brothers certainly aren't going to make it easy for him. Either is John Mayer, and I'm just kind of keeping an eye on this little battle here with Alan Smith throwing that thing all over the track. Early before the race, he was talking about how good the Acura is for him. It's a very pointy car. And, oh, we've got a Porsche off track. Who's that? That's is that Schultz back there? He's just coming back on.
In the background in that green livery machine, he's coming back on. These guys trying to weave their way through that GT3 traffic. Oh, Smith overcooked it. Had that one again sideways. He caught it, but he was very, very dangerous. It's close to that Lexus there as well. He's managed to get through, Alex. But boy, oh boy, that was very, very close indeed.
That was nearly a handbrake turn, rally start and hypercar. Well played, Alan Smith. Considering the fact that the Safari Rally Kenya is going on this weekend as well as we speak. But yeah, I mean, now we're Steve's. Now this is for the ABS. Stephen Miller versus Matthew Overton. So it's McLaren versus Ferrari. And this could be a good run. Overton is just placing the Dark Thunder Racing Ferrari. Now, we do remember Matthew running previously in Aston Martin machinery, but has switched to the Prancing Horse and has, in this second round, really found his stride in the 174 car. I mean, he's giving Miller an absolute big amount of grief, but when you think about it, you've got a car that's got a twin-turbo 4-litre V8 and then another one that's a 3-litre twin-turbo V6. So the horsepower advantage and the torque advantage is going to go the way of the McLaren, but the capability of the handling through the corners. Oh, he nearly dived through there, did Overton through at Le Mans. He could have got the job done very early on Miller, who stretches the legs on Woking's finest, coming down Allman Straight. He was very lucky with Stephen Miller. He did not lose that lead.
Yeah, the problem with that is, has he just lost his momentum? He goes in deep. Oh. He has. He's gone and cooked it sideways, Matty Overton. That's going to drop him away from Miller. The gap's going to extend. Oh, he saved Miller into pit lane. Overton being sideways there, Ross, around the final couple of corners.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. It looked like Matthew was going to have the position on him eventually, but I didn't think he would throw it out there so much. It's one way to get a cut back on the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. You see Matty Bice, John Mayer on your screen at the moment. They're barely 8 tenths away from each other. Currently, they're having a nice little bit of a ding-dong at the same time here. There's 3 hypercars all mixing it up at this moment in time. It's going to be interesting to see for Monet with Meyer in there and see what goes on. Is GT3 action mixing it up once again? Who's going to be able to get this one? Matty Bice sitting there like a lion, waiting for something to happen with Meyer. Waiting, is he going to be able to, is he sitting there waiting for a mistake, do we think? Or is he just trying to see if he can get closer to Meyer? Because the gap's fluctuating quite a lot. Down to half a second, now back out to 1.4. What's Matty Bice got to do here, Alex, trying to keep up with Meyer?
Well, you've got 2 very different powertrain solutions, so it's all about using the strength of the Toyota against the might of that flat plate crank 5.5 litre naturally aspirated V8. So that's the biggest hurdle he's got to overcome. He's just got to basically keep the pace up, but it's not going to be easy.
No, definitely not. I think that's going to be the thing. Don't forget they've been going for an hour and 3 minutes here as we look at Zachary Chabot having to go with Norm Graff. There's a yellow in sector 1. I'm not sure if that's somebody just ran wide and caused a bit of a brief yellow flag there, but we've got a replay on our screen at the moment once again now as these guys shield along going round at the hairpin. Is that something, Ross, that we're going to see quite a lot of? Is it just a low speed corner? Alan Smith having drama going into turn number 3. Big snap. The other way. Hold it. Yeah, got it stopped there, Ross. But are these slow speed corners causing a problem for the hypercar this late on?
Oh, for sure, yeah, especially as the balance is changing. Like I was saying before, when they go through the pit stops, if they haven't changed their tires, or even if they have, that's just sudden change in the balance of the car. Maybe you've adjusted your brake bias a little bit as the fuel burns off. It doesn't take much for these cars when you're pushing it right to the edge to get to one of those spots, and then you just, you lock up a brake, and like Alex said, it's like you're holding a handbrake on this thing. And the back end just wants to step around, so it only takes a few kilometers over where you typically have been, and the car just likes to sail away from you.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of the problems, low speeds, once tyre wear kicks in as well. There's the rundown of the classes. Kesby leading, Tom Lane, Troy Uyan, Ege Karabasak there as well. Riley Koenig down in 5th. Moving on to the Hypercar AMS at this moment in time, it's Stephen Bice leading the way there once again. Then John Meyer and Matty Bice in and behind him. Meyer separating the Bice brothers currently. Angelidis working his way back up to 4th. He's done a great job there with Norm Graf, Zachary Chavot and Mike Bice down in 7th. Moving on to the GT3 pros on that one. You can see at the moment it is still Dan Kirby leading the way with Alan Holden and William Snowden. JT Tammy, them three having a right little battle on our screen there. Then you got Hypercar AMS once again in behind that. Matty Overton, Petrafsky, Meyer and Katarinakis. We're focusing on the Hypercar AMS at the moment in the background. They're having a right little go at themselves at the moment. And these guys not giving up here, Alex, with 54 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, and Matthew Bice, you can just see how... and Gilles Lalonde has just DNF'd. That's car 4 out of 43, so we'll be down to 39 runners and riders. I mean, Matthew Bice, right? So, yeah, it's going to be the case of... You can see that Mayer's going to open up the taps on that V8. But look at Bice, look at the run he got coming out of Sunset, and he's just passed him. That was a great move from Matthew Bice. He was just absolutely foot planted to the floor, kept the turn in minimal, and let the car do the work and the aero, and that was quite high speed. I mean, it's, you know, you're not going at a snail's pace through Sunset Bend, as George Angelidis has now got the sole Aston Martin Valkyrie of Norm Graf in the Hypercar AM division, battling away for what is now P4, and Norm at one point, because he did have a pit lane penalty. Ooh. Oh, he has a big old wobble coming out of Le Mans, going into Ulman, and that's quite scary in a very, very high displacement B12.
Yeah, absolutely. They're battling away. There's more Hypercar action coming in behind. Angelidis goes in deep. There was a lock up at the brakes from George there in that final corner in through Sunset. Is the winged Valkyrie going to be able to get him in turn number 1? No, I think that Acura has just got the legs on the Valkyrie at the moment. Going in through 1 now as well. It's getting very, very close here. Angelidis, Norm Graf, 53 minutes on the clock, and they're fighting like it's the final 5 minutes here, Ross.
Yeah, I'm just kind of paying attention to the way that the attitude on those two cars, knowing George really likes a front stiff understeery car versus Norm, who likes one that swings around kind of like a rally car. It's interesting to see how both drivers take some of these corners. I think there's going to be a big difference as they come up to hairpin. You're going to see Norm able to execute maybe a little bit more dramatically. He's right on the back of him, and yeah, he's able to get through some of the twistier bits just a little bit, but George tends to be a little bit more confident on these corner exits just because he can plant his foot and get right out of there. So this is really fun to watch because they're both pretty quick drivers relative to one another, and they're going to come up to traffic. We'll see what this does for them. Yeah, well, let's see how this one pans out. There's a Tamarero in front there. That is Alan Holden in the GT3 Pros, 12 seconds behind Kirby, 11 seconds ahead of Snowden. Let's see how this one holds up. Angelidis goes through. Graf's got nowhere to go at the moment in time here. He's going to have to hold on through the right-hander of Le Mans now. He's still got to sit there and wait. Graf's still sitting there waiting. He's still sitting there. Oh my God, poor old Norm Graf. Angelidis just done a run away from him there, Ross. He couldn't clear the back marker, and now Norm Graf's going to have to do it all again, closing up to Angelidis. Yeah, well, he did the right thing. I mean, he was patient. He did not hustle Alan Holden along because there was really not any good position where he'd be able to get by him without compromising both of their cars. Unfortunately, was that Vasilis that we just saw at the entrance of pit road? He spun around. Yeah, we'll have a look back at that in a minute as well. But poor old Norm Graf there just had nowhere to go. Replay on the screen now as well. I think this may have been on the one of Katarinakis through the final corner. He's going to try and dive it in pit lane. Is he going to come all the way up? No,
he hit the barrier.
Oh, well, he goes in pit lane, but he goes in backwards there, Alex. Yeah, he goes in the wrong way.
Well, he pinballed the left rear fender, caught the outside ball, and it pinned him, turned him around 180, and he gets in just before Alan Holden, the Temerario. How big a bullet do you need to dodge there for Katarinakis? He hit the same side on both sides of the exit of Sunset. I haven't seen that in a long time.
No, it's not Ross. It's not something that we see very often there with Katarakis.
No, I mean, he's had his struggles here and there, but I mean, for this race, I feel like if he didn't have any bad luck, it'd be none at all.
I think you might be right on that one. But let's see how this one develops now as well. Graf's managed to get, I believe, onto the back of Angelidis once again. There's a yellow in 3. We'll sure pick up on that. Angelidis at the moment, that's Gutierrez, and I'm going to go, is it Ruta de Bruin in front?
Yeah.
Let's see how this one pans out once again. It's going to be a run here from Ruta de Bruin. He's going to try and clear Cadillac in behind him at Gutierrez. He's got to try and open up some room. But there's a lot of traffic going on here now, Alex. There's a lot of people in Sunset. There's a lot of people on the exit. There's the Porsche there, I believe, Dan Kirby coming through.
Yep.
There's Stephen Miller in front, I think, as well. Or Petrovsky in front of that, I should say. They're all over the place at the moment. And there's a lot going on. And it's just in this short little part of the racetrack altogether.
Look, Johnny Gutierrez caught up to... he's just caught up to the back end of Ruta de Bruin. They've just got through, I think that was on... Was that on Alexander Schultz, I think, in the 86 Porsche?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
But, like, Gutierrez on the closing speed. Now, I still remember when both Johnny and Gilles were in the 9X8. And Johnny would have the best, would have great races, but then he'd also have a bit of misfortune come his way. And so
I like it. That's such a diplomatic way of
Well,
having
what
Johnny
I'm gonna say is that-
Gutierrez, the Maverick of the R Factor 2 series. That
Yeah,
one
going
minute
to
you
the
can get,
9X8.
yeah,
and
one
then
minute he's
deciding,
Verstappen.
you know what, I'm gonna play it safe and go with the caddy for this year. But I think it's more the case of it's another car to relearn.
Yeah, you are right, but I think that's such a diplomatic way of putting poor old Gutierrez's downfall last season in that 9X8. He had an absolutely stonking Verstappen S race, or unfortunately he had a Mazepin race. There was no really in between with Gutierrez, but it was very interesting to watch in that X8 that we haven't got any on this grid, I don't believe, of anybody driving the X8, maybe because they chucked a stupid ungainly wing on the back. That might be the issue, but now we've got these cars having a go at each other. Angelidis and Graf now back to 6/10 again. Graf going once more. That's one of the things we haven't got, Mr. Smith, is the X8.
Well, I mean, it's still in the pack. It's just drivers haven't picked it up. Real quick here, it looks like Vasilis got a penalty. I'm wondering if that's because he was carrying too much speed when he sort of went sideways across the line.
Or
Yeah.
did he enter unsafely there, Ross? Let's face it, you don't go into pit lane backwards, do you?
Well, hit them again.
Try not to.
It's not a normal way.
No, it was like ping pong, wasn't it? Oh, I'll hit the outside of the wall going into Sunset Bend. I'll hit the same side of the car going into pit lane backwards, shall I?
Yeah.
He must have gone over the entry line for the speed limit.
Yeah,
So
I wonder if he's
that would explain the penalty.
Yeah, he's
So-
probably sat there thinking, I hope they didn't see that on the broadcast. Well, unfortunately, Vasilius, we did. We saw you do it there as well. Graf's just cleared. Angelidis going down into the hairpin for them too. So it's a run up through Fangio into Cunningham and Collier at the moment. But that is now a swap over. Graf takes that full place away from George Angelidis. So he's going to try and get onto the back of Stephen Bice, but it's a long way I think he's got to make up here. There is a Hypercar Pro in between them as well, which is Ollie Day, who's just down on the further end of your screen here. I've just jumped into a replay once more, and this is the overtake down into the hairpin of Norm Graf. It looks like Rossi's going to come from a long way back here. He forces George out, little bit of an elbows out from Norm Graf, got the exit pull. George had no response, but I can tell you what, Norm Graf had to get his elbows out for that one.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised. Usually into braking zones, George tends to be a little bit stronger, but in that case, Norm just sent it, and George didn't really try and block him off or put up too much of a fight there. I think he was just tired of being hustled along at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Norman said, I'm off, see you later. You can battle the back markers on your own. Nguyen and De Bruin still having a battle in the Hypercar Pros. They're about 4, oh no, they were 4 tenths. There's obviously been a problem with Uyan. He's just gone out to 1.8 seconds now. So unfortunately for Uyan, I think he's got in pit lane there. Koenig is not, he's just out on pit lane. Subic in pit lane, Gutierrez is in pit lane. I believe once again this is all going to swap around, Alex, I think for the next sort of 10-15 minutes. Petravki is having one of them races that can only be deemed as absolutely rotten. We've just seen him on the right hand side there of your picture going through as these hypercars come through, sitting on the grass. So poor old Maximilian Petravki has not had a good race whatsoever here at all this evening. Ollie Day here, we did say at the moment he was sitting in 15th place, he still is in 15th, but unfortunately has gone around. Just too much power on a slow speed corner for Ollie Day, so he's going to have to try and recover that one. But you can see the difference now, Alex, between Graf and Angelides. Graf just said, I'm off, son. He's taken that Valkyrie and he's flown.
Well, the thing is, as I mentioned about Angelides' decision to go with the hard tyres, and just heard that top lane has just taken quite a big amount of time. The best part of 3.5 to 4 seconds out of Ben Kesby. So we are going to have, with 44.5 minutes to go, a cracking race at the front end of the field, but we've got a yellow out in sector 1. I think Matthew Overton was the driver, and that was in the months, and that was the man who was battling away with Steve Miller at one point for the LMGT3 AM. But the big thing is that Angelides' tyres will be falling off the cliff because the track temperature has dropped now 9 degrees from its highest. As we see a replay, this is through turn 1, way too wide, Beckett stands out. That is something you cannot catch, I'm afraid. 360 though. Oh, shades of Travis Pastrana there.
Yeah, he was doing a great job. George Angelides in pit lane. I didn't meet Travis, by the way. Good festival speed. That was quite an interesting one there as well, as he come back in that Subaru. It was very interesting to see him pull into the pit area, should we say. Let's just say there may have been a few donuts in the process on that one.
No surprise there then.
No, definitely not. But he was a lovely geezer, and his woman co-driver, I can't remember her name, blonde-haired lady, they were very nice to everybody that was standing there waiting for them to enter back into the pit lane. So, and I got autographs from my boys, and they're very, very happy indeed after that. But lots of racing still to come here from Sebring. 43 minutes on the clock left. Where are we at now, Ross, in terms of driving? What are we doing at this point of the racetrack?
Well, if you're GT3s, you should be thinking about your final stint and where you're at as far as if you've been able to save any fuel or playing out the last bit of your strategy. I'm sure that drivers are going to be considering if they want to maybe get some track position, if they've been able to hold onto their tires, if they're going to try and double stint, or if they're just going to try and push as hard as they can and use up the tires that they've got and swap some new ones on so they can maximize their pace going through. And Hypercars will be doing something kind of similar. They're going to still have another pit stop to do. As we saw George Angelides going in, he's going to be kind of the first. He's actually going to be a little bit tight going to the end, so he's going to be probably thinking about hopefully not having to do the splash and dash. And they are able to adjust the fuel mixture on the fly, which they're definitely going to want to do if it looks like it's going to be close at all, or if you want to try and maximize your stint length. If you've got maybe just a little bit underneath a lap left, you might want to throw it down even into safety car in some cases, just to try and eke out one more lap, so that's one less you have to do on there. But all that's going to be going on. I think George, the only one with hard tires, I think he's going to want to switch off of those. The track is now around 37, maybe even 36 as the sun starts to set.
Yeah.
And those are not going to help him at all going into this final stint, for sure.
No, he's down on 36 now. I love the fact that Ben in YouTube chat, Vasilius was pulling away from Holden as he got down the pit lane. Didn't hit the pit lane limiter while he was hitting everything else.
Well, I'm not at all surprised about that comment, as Brian Hall has just had a DNF for the... And that's Eric Monet having a bit of a moment. That is coming out of the hairpin turn. Oh, right front into the barriers.
Oh yeah, I didn't turn the wheel left there, which was a little bit weird by Monet. The interesting thing, though, as well, Brian Hall's just been under the radar, which generally means you're having a good race if we haven't seen you, because you're just plodding along and doing your thing. But he's in the pits in DNF, so whether or not I don't know whether or not he's had hardware issues or what. We've got a couple of battles developing now, Alex. This is going to be the interesting thing now. Tammy and Snowden are back together again, which generally means I'm going to have a heart attack for the next 40 minutes. We've also got Graf and Bice. They're having a good old go at each other. And down in the GT3 AMS, Meyer and Trafke have been in the pit lane. Miller and Overton are almost not very far apart either. Oh, well, that battle's kind of done because Bice and Graf's just got in pit lane. So Bice is on his way. So that's one out of the way I can stop having a heart attack over. But it's going to be here, isn't it, with JT Tammy?
Could possibly be also with Ben Kesby and Tom Lane, because Tom Lane just did a 48.1. Kesby, the previous lap was like a 50.5, and Tom Lane has just got into the pits. So with 40 minutes to go, that's going to be tight on fuel, I think, but it depends on how much longer Ben Kesby is going to keep the number 9 British Turkish Racing Ferrari out front, as we see Tammy and Snowden. It's ding ding, seconds out, whatever round you want to call it. And this is for P2 in the class. I mean, you know, folks, you remember what we saw a little bit early? Oh no!
Oh!
Who was that turned it?
That Holden?
I was going to say that was definitely.
Smith.
Alan Smith, yeah. That's weird. 92 spins it as Toyota splitting the 2 in GT3. I think that might be one of the Bices.
Yeah, but this is where you wish, Alex, isn't it? That sometimes cars would just disappear out the way. Oh, well, there you go. Snowden has just disappeared out the way.
It's like shoe fly, don't bother me kind of thing.
Yeah, leave these guys alone. They were having a right old ding-dong. Here's poor old Smith going in through Le Mans and gender.
Handbrake.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying on that one. Handbrake.
No, curb on the right-hand side there, Ross. Caught him out, I think.
Yeah, and that's part of the conversation I was having with actually Alan Smith early on in the race, or pre-race actually, when they were going through their practice session. And this is one of the Bice brothers.
Where you going?
It's a wide one.
Just running wide, I think. No drama.
Yeah, he's nailed it.
Yeah, it's very easily done out that corner. That separated Tammy and Snowden. Burden. And now we've got the Miller Overton. These are 2 people battling away in these GT3 AMS once again, of course. At the moment, it's Katranakis leading the GT3 AMS with Bard, Kruger, Dalger and Miller. So Matty Overton's going to want to try and get some points on the board here, Alex, and because he didn't do it in Daytona.
Yeah, and we've got a yellow out in sector 2 now. We did see Miller and Overton battle away over the class lead a little bit earlier to the inside. Deep goes Overton, and that is going to be very, very much picture perfect for the 174 Dark Thunder rating. And it sounds like it was Matthew Bice that might have just scored.
Mike, I think it might have been there.
Yeah, it might have been Mike Bice that had the moment. But again, you could see how quickly, coming out of the hairpin, how Miller was just able to use the power of the McLaren, but they've got a Ferrari in the middle of them. That's Riley Koenig going through the 34, but Miller just absolutely got hoodwinked by Overton on that one, because Overton saw the door open, sensed it like he meant it, gave Miller absolutely no way to counter-attack, because we've got Kirby and Tammy in the lead of the LMGT3 division. They're now in pit lane, so that will promote David Yun to the lead of the race in that class. But Overton, look how quickly he's opened up that gap between himself and Miller. It's now nearly a second.
Yeah, Ross, you've got to respect the fact that the improvements that Matty Overton's made. He's down into the AMS this season. He's gone about doing his job, didn't have luck in Daytona. Obviously now leading the GT3s in the AMS in Sebring. He's having a right old go of it, Matty. He looks a little bit more determined this season and a little bit more complete almost as a sim racer.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it now that he's down into AMS. He was running pro and actually teammate with JT Tammy last year in the Aston Martin. So kind of everything that he would want to expect there, but he just didn't quite have the pace on his own. And certainly as the Aston Martin got a little bit nerfed to bring it back in line with the other cars, it kind of showed that he would kind of have to work a little bit harder, I guess, to show similar pace. And so, yeah, he got pulled down into AMS, and he's doing really well right now. Has a great fight with Stephen Miller. He showed great commitment to the line. And so now he's teammated with Stuart Barge. And unfortunately for his teammate, the team is not going to score quite as many points as they would have. But it's a beautiful sunset here, thanks to Paul, our director, for being able to give us some great views going around the track. It's been a great race to watch, and he's had the camera work very frantically going all around the place for this entire thing.
Yeah, he's been looking out for that from the beginning of the race, Ross. That was one of his mental notes. He probably wrote down on a piece of paper, sunset, must get it done on that one. So well done to Paul Glover. Much appreciated to the man who's in my hero there as well. So big shout out to him and the absolutely award-winning camera broadcasting that takes place from Mr. Paul Glover. Absolutely stellar job for him.
Oh no!
It's Smith again, isn't it?
No, I think that's his teammate. Yeah, Oliver Day got smacked.
That's Day.
I think that was Boyne who caught him as he was going through that turns 3-4.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can have a look back. Here we go. This is what's just happened here to Ollie Day there once again. And through the left hander he goes. And over the cut. Whoa!
Oh yeah.
Monet was coming back from somewhere. I don't know where he was coming back from, but Monet was on his way back from I presume he ran wide on the grass or something, and unfortunately hit him there. There he goes. Comes back. Goes across the grass. Is he going to go back again? There's a lot more drama coming out of Monet here. Runs in, slides. Oh!
No. Punched it just a little too much.
Too much beans there, I think, from Monet. Unfortunately, that's taken in Ollie Day now as well. The gap's down to 15 seconds from Tom Lane to Ben Kesby. We'll bring you up the intervals on the left-hand side so you can see them there as well. It was out at 18, but it's still climbing. It's down to 13 now, coming down quite rapidly. Snowden and JT Tammy have just got in the bottom of your picture. They're still having a good old right little ding-dong there down in the GT3 Pros. Just ahead, if you keep an eye just up the road, there they are. There's the Lexus, there's Snowden. Don't forget Snowden went in pit lane, and that released JT. Now JT has got Snowden climbing all over him. In through the hairpin to go. Alex, round number 657 of JT Tammy and William Snowden.
Yeah, I've just been looking at the gap between Kesby and Lane in the final sector. The differential in favour of Lane by about 1.5 seconds. So the question is Kesby actually doing a little bit of lifting and coasting? And firstly, okay, that won't be the greatest help in terms of lap time. But it will help with traction assist around this circuit. Now we've got William Snowden right on the rear bumper of JT Tammy, and this could be rather crucial as nightfall is very much set here with just over 32 minutes remaining. The headlights are ablaze, the night is in, and we're in for a bumpy one for the next half an hour or so.
Yeah, Ross, give us a rundown on the Sebring lights. We talk about the cat's eyes. Are they really there, or do they really help, or what's the situation as Kirby is having to go with Alan Holden? Tamararo Lamborghini of a Porsche on the run into one. Holden manages to hold on to it. Kirby's tucked in right behind him now as well. I think this is a fuel stop situation got on here, Alex, because these two weren't close together. Kirby was out in front by about 15 seconds. So now Holden's got an opportunity. He could do with holding up Kirby for as long as physically possible here, because I'm sure he's got to go down pit lane. I don't think he's completely run it already. But now let's see what goes on here from Kirby and Holden.
Well, of course, you've got to think about the Ferrari that's in front of them as well. If Holden can get through on that Ferrari, but this is going to open the door here for Kirby. Oh, and Holden to the outside, through on the right-hander. That's exactly the move that Alan Holden needed to make. And he's got a car in between himself and Alan Holden. Now, is that Matthew Overton?
Barge.
I think it's Barge, I think, in that machine. I don't think it's Overton there. Kirby now 1 second behind Petravsky and alongside Barge now going into the right-hander of Cunningham. Barge says, nope, not having a part of that. Thank you very much, Petravsky. On your bike, Sunshine. I ain't going near you. You've spun more times than Kylie Minogue, and I don't like the idea of getting close there at that one. So Barge getting out the way of Petravsky now as well. We've still got more going to happen here between Kirby and Holden. It's going to be a rundown. Is this going to be the first win for the Tamarero as we jump to a replay now as well? Who are we going to see coming through here? That's the Snowden-Tammy situation. Snowden's on Smith. I think the Smith gone with him, or Day gone with him.
Day.
Oh, they're both off the side of the circuit there now as well. William Snowden just giving away that position. The JT Tammy were down there. And now there goes Kirby up the inside of the Tamarero. Bye-bye, Kirby. I think he's going to pull away now, Alex, to be honest.
Well, there's still half an hour to go, JP. I'm not counting anything before we actually see it on our screens. But if that Temerario can keep with that Porsche, the Porsche has been so dominant in the GT3 classification because you've got Kirby and Buyan, the two teammates, who are riding on board here now with Snowden. Oh, he misses his braking point completely and tags Oliver Day in the left rear. I'm going to be completely honest.
I'm hoping he's saying thank you.
I don't think he's saying thank you. That is the case of what on earth was that?
Or he's warning drivers coming at him that he's out there, don't hit him again.
Yeah. Please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. It's like a comedy martial arts film that's all gone wrong. But nevertheless, that has to be, from my perspective, just by that on board, that was all on William Snowden. I think he just completely mistimed it.
I think that was the excitement of trying to stay with JT there. He knew he had to get alongside him. I don't think he was probably expecting the hypercar there as well. And unfortunately for him, he just got a little bit overzealous there, Ross, as well. So let's see whether or not they're going to be able to come back together, or is that it now? Is JT just going to pull away from Snowden, who's 6 seconds back at this moment in time? Kirby out in front, 3 seconds on Alan Holden in that Tamarero. Done and dusted. They almost here, Ross, do we think, for GT3s?
Yeah, they should be doing their final stops if they haven't already. We're looking back here at Alan Holden, who's chasing down Kirby just a moment ago, and as Norm Graff comes back on track and realizes, there's some cars there. it's out of the way.
It's not over yet either.
I'm wondering if Holden had that track position on Kirby because he didn't take tires and Kirby did. Because obviously he's falling way back at this point. Kirby has great pace, but I think maybe he just decided, I have so much of a gap that I'll just put fresh rubber on, why not?
Yeah, looking at the lap times between the pair, the last indicated laps, Daniel Kirby 2:1.1, Alan Holden 2:5. So yeah, I think you're right there, Ross. If Alan's decided to save the last set of tyres, but the big thing is that when did he last pit?
Trying to find that.
Yep, so it's just going to go to, just like at the beginning of the broadcast. Here we go. Oh, dearie me. Matthew Overton has just lost it again at turn 1. But luckily enough, he had a big enough lead ahead of Maximilian Petravsky there.
Yeah, that's not a good corner for Overton at the moment, unfortunately, going into turn number 1. Dan Kirby, Alan Holden will try and get the pit time or pit lane lap times for us, because I tell you what, I think that, as you say, it might have something to do with tyres, but how far can Holden go? We're going to find out very, very shortly, I'm sure. But everything's starting to come to a little bit of a head at the moment in time. No real dramas for anybody. People close together. We've lost 4 out of the 44. 5, sorry. Out of the 44 we had. We've lost Concalves. His internet went ping. Jerry Chen, Carl Woodstart, Kingsbury went and absolutely rogered the barrier. Calvin Gallagher was literally upside down at one point, and Gilles Lalonde went into the pit lane and just DNF'd there as well. So let's see how these guys get on for this ending of this one here. Who's going to be battling back together, do we think, here, Ross, coming into the final 25?
It's hard to say at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if something happened where Tammy and Snowden got back together again. If something happened, although Tammy's pretty rock steady with a lot of his pit stops and timing. So, but like Alex said, you can't call anything at this point because there are just too many hypercars and GT3s between everyone else on track. So it only takes a moment to just send somebody off or have a big moment and close up any of these gaps that might have been happening. I mean, somebody could run Kirby off the road here at the hairpin.
Yeah.
It's a complete crapshoot.
Yeah, absolutely. There's if we could bring you up a former track map, you would see where everybody is. There's so much of a mix here that would completely blow your mind where everybody is. There's hypercars that are one lap down in the pros. Lucio and Charles being one of them, Dahlgren being another one. The hypercar AMs, they're all a lap down. We've got Clark's 2 laps down, Monet's 2 laps, Zachary Chauveau, Smith, Angelini's 2 laps, Denk, Norgraf, Matthew Bice, Stephen Bice, they're 2 laps down on the leader, which of course is Ben Kesby. There's a lot of mix up here, Alex. This is not even like we've gone out to bake an actual pie. We've got out to bake a buffet of an assortment of everything, and we never know where anybody's going to be come the end of this.
Yeah, it's like someone's decided to bring a big old Spanish paella with them, just for good measure here at Sebring. But Tom Lane is really, really putting in the quick lap times. His last one was a 48.3 for Kesby. Lane, a low 47.5. So Tom Lane knows that he has got an opportunity of closing that gap, and at some points he's been 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds quicker on a lap, let alone even a sector, when it comes to him versus Kesby. Also, with regards to that, track temperature, gentlemen, has now fallen below ambient for the first time this race. We are down 19 degrees. Our highest was 46 degrees centigrade. We're now at 27. Mike Bice, I think, has just entered pit lane for what will be his final time if it's not penalty induced. When he's all the way down at the... Ben Kesby has just gone off. Oh, that lead that was 8 seconds, it's now nearly halved. Here's the replay for it. So we're going to see what happens to Ben Kesby. Oh, and it's straight on at the hairpin, just off of the Fangio chicane. Ben Kesby goes rally crossing in the number 9 Ferrari, and he lost a big amount of time, nearly 2 seconds in the middle sector. And this now says to Tom Lane, he'll see the delta, he'll see the relative. So he's going to fire it through into Sunset Bend. So we're going to complete lap number 54 of this race now as we speak. Kesby will come across the line. 151.2. Tom Lane, 47.4. Gap now down to 4 seconds, maybe less.
Let's see how these guys are going to come back together at some point here, Ross. Is this the tyre situation we're seeing here as well? Troy Uyan trying to go around the outside of Karabasak, in through the final corner now as well. This is for 3rd and 4th in the Hypercar Pros. Troy Uyan on the right, got the job done over Karabasak. Karabasak's trying to come back at him, going into turn number 1, didn't quite get the job done. He's going to have to sit in behind him here, Ross. But Karabasak, got a bit close to Uyan on there. Just managed to avoid it in Ross. And at the moment, these two still going at it.
We actually lost Uyan. He dove into the pit. That's the one to lead us in front of him, who he's now trying to avoid running into and trip over. They've got another stop to go. We're starting that cycle now for the hypercars. We shouldn't see any GTs going in unless the fuel strategies for them ended up pacing it out just a little bit, where they might be later in the race having to do a bit of a splash and dash. But now we've got, I think it's Bradley Sellers is slotted into that 4th place spot. But that's going to be temporary because he's not pulled up enough to quite clear that gap. but we'll see what the final stop does. Like you said, with the tire situation, I think that's kind of mixing some of these things up. We saw it with, I believe that was a Kirby Holden situation, although that gap is sort of steadied out a little bit more. It's at 7 seconds. And then what we saw with, I think it was Kesby and Lane here. So I think Lane, either he had tires or he managed to hold on to them much longer, because he just was collapsing that delta tremendously over the last stint. But he's going to have to come in here, I want to say, within the next lap or so.
Yeah, Kesby down to 2 seconds now, losing that absolute heap of time. They're coming up to the back end of Angelidis, I believe. In front of him, there's a yellow in 3. Let's see what goes on here as these guys continue to fight. Kesby now tucked in. He's going to want to try and clear this car as soon as possible. On the lights he goes. Here we go. He's going to try and go around the outside. Is he? He is. Angelidis takes to the inside, I believe it is. Through he goes, Kesby. Lane 2.1 seconds. Going to have to deal with the same amount of traffic as Kesby at the moment here. And this is a replay. Talking to George Angelidis, I fear this could be him. With Karabasaki in front, he's chasing down Norm Graf.
Oh, he hit Norm!
Whoa!
That was Norm Graf. He just absolutely punted from pillar to post there.
Yeah, he absolutely went in deep, absolutely smacked Norm Graf clean on the rear end. And now they have swapped back positions. Angelidis.
Here we go, race
again. Here
race
we go
lead.
Once again. Kesby now as well, trying to catch up to through they go. Tom Lane sitting half a tenth back at this moment in time. Through Genderbeam, through Le Mans. There's traffic there as well. Petrovsky in the mix at the same time. Barges is there. Now it's going to be a run down the Ullman, down through the final corner. 19 minutes to go. Our leading pros have come together, Alex. This is what we wanted throughout the race. This is a tyre difference surely going on here. Have both of them got to stop, or are we only going to see one diving in?
Well, Kesby just lost 2 seconds on the middle sector as we'll complete lap number 56, and it's number 9. So Lane pitted 12 laps ago. Now the thing is, with Kesby it was 11 laps, so he pitted a lap later, and in that respect, Tom Lane has been able to activate the tyres a little bit quicker, but he's also had not as much misfortune as now they're going to start going through this back marker traffic. I see the Lexus and Peter Meyer there. I think also Snowden's
there in the AMG, I think, at the moment as well. He's going to have to kind of nestle in. I think it's totally different from Tom Lane. We believe he was changing tyres on that last stop. We feel they're going to have one more to go, I think, here, Ross. How far can they go, Ross? They're 12 and 11 laps in, 13, 14 maybe at the moment now, because they have passed people since Alex told us that information. How much further are they going to be able to go before they've got to go into pit lane again? Is this going to be within the next couple of laps, or are we going to see them drag them out, do we think?
I want to say that they're coming in at the end of this lap. I could be wrong. They might have another one in there, but that's going to be really close. They've got to come in. I mean, there's going to be one more before the end of this. They can't go on much longer than that. But I'm just wondering what that's going to mean coming out of this, depending on who's getting compromised and whatnot. Because like we were told, that Tom Lane has the tires. So at this point, Kesby is on the full defensive to try and hold on to that position.
And he's going to lose a chunk of time in pit lane, Alex, having to get them tyres off as well. Lane's going to try and sweep down the outside. Is this going to be the moment? Kesby chops his nose off harder than the plastic surgeon who don't keep Kardashian there as well. Here now is going to be a run down into one. Kesby in the front on the right hand side of your screen. Lane's going to sweep down the outside. Lane's got grip for days, let's not forget. Kesby's going to be sliding like Bambi on ice at the moment, caught towards the end of this stint. 16 and a half minutes to go. Kesby, Lane, back marker. They're going to want him to move as soon as possible, Alex. We've had a chat about the blue flags in the green room beforehand, but I can tell you what, I bet Kesby and Lane are wishing we were following F1 because they need them guys out the way.
Yeah, definitely. The pit stops for the respective drivers. Lane, 85.2 seconds. Kesby, 69.6. So about a 15 to 16 second differential between the pairs. So Tom Lane is on fresher rubber, which gives him the dynamic advantage, trying to put the frighteners here on Ben Kesby. Now, also the thing is, Alan Holden is on hards. He has basically had to say goodbye to Daniel Kirby, who is now 10 seconds up the road in the lead of the LMGT3s. But yeah, I think it is the case of, if Kesby has to pit for tyres, that will effectively give things to the man behind him who's got grip for days. They're now coming through into Genderbean and into Lamar, and then the run down Ullman. Now, this is going to be quite close. We're heading in towards the final quarter of an hour of what has been an absolutely rip-roaring roller coaster for 2 hours here at Sebring International Raceway for round 2 of the series. And that is one of the GS. Here goes Lane to the inside. Can he get the run coming out of the final corner? From Lane pits. Big development there.
Does he know that Kesby's got to take tyres? If Kesby doesn't there, Ross, he's going to come out more slippery than anything, isn't he? At this moment in time.
I don't think he's going to do it. Oh no, been to the back of the GT3.
And bang, GT3's off an audition for the upside down and straight to face there, I think. There, Petrovsky again managed to get his race settled in the middle. Now he's come to the end, bounces the curb again on the way in. Runs wide, is he going to go and spin it round? He's not. And then our poor old Alan Smith once more. I remember a footballer called Alan Smith. He used to work for Arsenal. They called him the Donkey at one point. I'm not saying that's relevant, but I played for Arsenal. I'm not sure if he's that worth the same thing, but I can tell you about it. Poor Alan Smith there on that one. But anyway, here we go. Kesby's out in front by 30 seconds. Lane dived into pit lane there, Ross, as well. It should be just fuel stopping if he's going to double stint them tyres, because he surely must know that Kesby's got to take them.
I wouldn't. If I were Kesby with 14 laps to go, I am not putting new tires on. I'm going to just try and press my fuel advantage. He's got 1 lap to that guy right there, Tom Lane. So he doesn't have to stay stopped quite as long, but Tom Lane is going to absolutely whip that Ferrari as he's going around the track to try and make up that little bit of a loss there. I'm going to guess that it's going to be maybe a couple seconds difference, if that, in terms of just how much he's going to have, assuming that everything else is going to be the same. I just hope nobody gets a penalty coming through here. That would be terrible to disrupt this battle with something so technical.
Oh, Bice, Jeremiah.
Send him off.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah.
That was on the exit.
Of Lamar.
Oh, they've both gone round.
Oh, it was both of them.
I thought it was just one. They both went.
Yeah, well, I think it was John got it. Yeah, he went off the circuit, turned in, and then on the exit of Lamar, Matthew was trying to turn right, clattered into the right front fender of John, and then all hell broke loose between the pair.
Yeah, here we go. You see that's Maya in front, Bice coming through, dives up the inside. He's gone round. He thinks he's clear.
He's not.
Bang, he's not clear. Yeah, and then around he goes, unfortunately for both of them. No! Oh, God, could we have not followed that for a minute? Oh, that was a rejoin and a half. There was a hypercar coming at him. Oh, my God. Whatever went on there was going to be a dramatic moment, wasn't it? Because somebody was going to need brown pants, or at least some clean ones.
Well, they would have had brown pants.
Yeah, they would have needed some new ones after that.
Oh, Matthew
Bice,
not a very happy handling.
No.
Toyota at the moment. Meantime, however, Edge Kanabasak has pitted. So, Cat with 12 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. 59.1, well, call it 53 seconds. Now, the big question is, when does Ben Kesby park the number 9 in the pit lane, and how quickly can Tom Lane drive the 050 like he stole it, and bring it, drag it around the circuit, kicking and screaming by the rear wing to try and close that gap to Kesby, because Kesby has now pitted. Kesby is effectively in pit lane as far as I can see. Yeah. So,
this should put Lane close to him, I think. This is going to be.
Okay.
He's going to come out very close, Alex.
I'm going to keep a check on Tom Lane's sector times as he comes through. 29.8.
Yeah, he's down there at the moment in through Genderbean.
Yeah, now into Lamar. So this could be very, very close indeed.
Yeah, over to the Kruger as well. It's not. Kesby's well out. Kesby's well out in lane. That traffic on the way in just did not do him any favours. Lane's gone round the final corner. Kesby's just got the exit of pit lane to go. He's out in front. He didn't just steal a gap. He took a country mile out of him onto pit lane, onto the racetrack. Sorry. Kesby goes 5 seconds quicker than Lane in pit stops. Kesby's come out on the slippery, slidey tyres that he did not change. Lane's still running double stint in the ones he has changed. Is this going to come down to a tyre fight again, Ross? And has Kesby got any life left in them tyres? Can he get them tyres to the end? Or is he going to slip harder than me on ice?
Well, I think at this point they're in a position where I don't think his pace is going to change too dramatically, but it is still quite a bit slower than Tom Lane's. And with about 10 minutes left to go, it's a question, can he make that up in like 5 or 6 laps? He's got traffic behind him and in between him. You can't even see Kesby up ahead. So it's game on. He's got to put the pedal down and not make any mistakes if he has any hope of chasing that Ferrari Kesby's down.
Absolutely, we got the Bices there as well. Stephen leading with Maddie in second. Maddie's having his own little bit of a fight at the moment with Maya. Them two have been velcroed together. It's almost like the bungee machine. One gets away, the other one pulls him in. The other one gets away, he pulls him in as well. So lots of action still to come in the Hypercar AMS. All the others have kind of settled down. Kirby leading the GT3s over JT. JT's had fighting and a half all the way through this race. I can tell you what, if that man hasn't lost about 10 stone throughout the full square, I'll be very, very surprised. Snowden, Holden, Uyan. Holden had a great going in that Tamarero. Was sitting in second place at one point. It's now dropped down to fourth there, unfortunately for him. Petrafsky, this man is literally, I'm going to call him God or something, because he has dragged that McLaren through more spins than I've seen a Walks do at the fairground. He's now got it to the lead of the GT3 AMS, Alex. Maximilian Petrafsky doing a whispering job. Has he eliminated his final stop? We've heard he hasn't had to, he's not pitted yet, but has he eliminated the stop in general? Is that why he saved so much fuel being on the grass, Alex? He hasn't got to actually take the stop.
It's going to be a tough one to call with 8 minutes and 40 on the timer, JP, but I'm looking at Kesby versus Lane. Gap now, it is about 7 seconds. Traffic pitted 16 laps ago. Tom Lane is going to has already taken a second out of Kesby, so this gap is going to come down to the wire. Look at the relative, 6.5 seconds. It was 10 when Kesby exited pit lane. So what Lane has to do now, patience, wait for the opportunities, wait for the slipstreams coming through out of Genderbean into Le Mans, down Ullman into Sunset, through into T1. This is where he can really make the difference for himself, but also for other drivers to know that he's going to be making his way through and to keep out of the way, one of which would have been Norm Graff being followed by Alan Smith, and that gap is now 6.3 seconds. So I think we could have a grandstand finish in Hypercar Pro, because Tom Lane now can see Ben Kesby, who's just gone through Sunset.
Yeah, Graff and Alan Smith. If Smith plays this right, oh, Graff didn't get alongside him. He could have used the Lexus there to block in Graff, but he just couldn't quite hold it there. Again, them two still having a right little battle on further back, but it's about how close Lane can get. 6.7 seconds at this moment in time. Goes into turn number 1, throws it in there at the moment, down to 5.8. Oh, he's on the grass. Stay out there. Oh, he's still on the grass. Takes out the hoarding at the moment. Did he recover? I presumed he must have recovered there as well. So he's back on the racetrack, but that ain't going to do him any favours. Kesby caught up in traffic, but you got to think here, Alex, anything Kesby's got to do, Lane's got to do the same thing, but it's where he catches the traffic. Can he catch it in a better place than Kesby can?
Yeah, that's the key question that needs to be answered. At the minute, you would say it is advantage Kesby, because being the de facto leader, you know, he'll have the opportunity to get through on the back market traffic first. However, that has still not stopped Tom Lane taking 1.7 seconds out of Kesby in the opening sector.
Kesby had traffic. Kesby had traffic. He had a GT3. There's 2 hypercars around him as well. There's the GT3 in the bottom right-hand corner as we're on the nose with Lane.
Oh.
There's the one that caused the problem. 5.5. Lane's on the lights, flashing frantically, saying thank you, I'm sure, and not telling him to get the boop out the way. But let's find out what Lane can do here as well, because he's got 2. I'm sure there's 2 hypercars. There they are behind Kesby. There's a 3rd one there as well. Kesby is running like an absolute scolded dog right now, Alex. He is trying to get in front of every single bit of traffic that he can. The more cars he's got between him and Lane, the better off he is. And I can tell you one thing, Kesby's got a lot of cars in front of him if he can catch them. He needs them guys behind battling like they are at the moment in the hypercars behind him as well, side by side. But this is benefit, game on, advantage Kesby if he can hold it for the next few laps here. And he needs to clear that Porsche. He needs to clear as many cars as possible, because once he gets through into that Porsche, there's a couple of more just up the road. So the more he can put in front of him, the better off it will be.
Now, despite the fact of Kesby and Lane both having dramas of their own, Kesby having to deal with traffic, Lane having to deal with the big old off-track, which was a code round clean up on aisle 3, get the mop, the gap is still coming down. But it's how much has that runoff in the open sector cost Tom Lane? That is the big question, and that cost him, I think, probably the best part of maybe a second or 2 in the opening 2 sectors alone, and it's now minimal. We've got another replay coming up. We've got 4 minutes and 30 still to go. This is going to be Norm Graff, and this is turning in.
Too much power.
This is going to be, oh, he's on the grass. Oh! Oh, that is definitely something definitely puckered up there. But more to the point, Ben Kesby has. I think Ben Kesby is pretty safe at this point, because that gap is now starting to fluctuate the wrong way in terms of a disadvantage for Tom Lane. Ben Kesby absolutely on point, picture perfect, making sure no mistakes are being made. No stone is left uncovered by the man from British Turkish Racing.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough. It's 1.4 seconds, I think, last time out on lap times. Let's see what they're going to do this time around. Kesby goes over the line, 47.7. Let's see what Tom Lane does here at the same time as well. Goes over the line at the moment in time. I don't think it's enough. He does a 47.777. Kesby, 47.775. Definitely not enough. He has not pulled enough time out. Both hit traffic throughout that lap, Ross. It's got to be Kesby's. He's just got to keep it on the track, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, this just shows you how important track position is in terms of just staying out in front. As we take a look at the Hypercar AM battle, this has been heating up in the background, and it's come to a boil. This is between both of the Bice brothers and John Mayer, who's closed that gap down very close, and he's looking right at the back of Matthew Bice to try and take position. He's going to swing around the outside, and then he's going to lock eyes. Target acquired. He's going to try and take them both down into the hairpin.
Got it done there as well.
Gorgeous.
Oh,
There
but
goes
he
in
went
deep.
deep.
He went deep.
Oh no!
Yeah, he couldn't
I
get it
gave it
stopped.
away.
No. Yeah.
He couldn't stop it there as well, Alex. Unfortunately for him, Mayer's going to have to go again. This is Matty Bice, Stephen Bice, John Mayer, Bice, and then Matty goes in deep as well. Now it's all kind of thrown away. Can the brothers stop John? That's the question. They need to group together. They really need to gang up here, Alex. It kind of, needs to be the bully in the playground, and John Mayer's the one that needs to gets bullied, because otherwise, if he allows these two, well, you can see it there as well. Stevens dropped away frantically.
Yeah, going through Genderby now into Lamar. This is where Mayer might use the advantage of the straight line speed of the Cadillac. We've got this, and I think one more lap to go because the leader's across the line. John Mayer to the outside of the Ullman Straight has just powered past into what will be the race lead as the two Bice brothers come into Sunset Bend. Matthew's running a little bit slower.
He's run out of fuel.
Coming through.
Something's gone on with Matty Bice. He's either dropped off frantically. Something's out. You don't just lose 2.4 seconds in one corner for no reason. So Matty, he's dropped behind Stephen now as well.
Oh, no, Matthew Overton.
Petrovsky
yeah.
as well, isn't it?
Kruger.
Or is it Kruger in there?
It's Kruger.
Yeah, that was
Stay where you are!
third. That was for third in the class. They were fighting on the podium.
Oh, we'll have to take a look and see what goes on there as well. But let's release Peter Meyer in the GT3 AMS. Maximilian Petrovsky still leading the AMS as well.
I'm going to
Here's
say
the
this,
replay.
Ben Kesby's lead is now 3 seconds, but here we go on the replay. Oh, Matthew
Matty.
Overton left it way too late. Slight touch on the rear end of Daryl Kruger, and through goes, that's Alan Holden that was in the aftermath. So, but there goes Tom Lane. Oh, Tom Lane is now 1.5 seconds behind as Overton finally gets going. This could be a pretty exciting final 4 miles, gentlemen.
Oh, and he can't slow down.
Because
He can't slow down.
Kesby is now finding traffic when he does not want it at the most needed time. He wants
the
clear
line.
air.
Yeah,
And
he needs the 3 seconds. He's got to stop. Oh, he
They're gonna have
didn't.
another lap.
He
This
took
is it.
another lap. Silly boy, Kesby. He just needed to back out just a minute. Lane nearly getting into the Porsche there as well. Kesby had an opportunity. He just had to back it up a couple of seconds later, barely any time at all, to get over the line, just enough to call it done, dusted. He would have took the win. He went over the line with barely a second remaining. Now there's going to be one more lap. Now the pressure's going to be on. This is going to be a final lap for the masses here. There's traffic there as well. Down into the hairpin. We're halfway through this lap now. Ben Kesby has got some holding on to do once again. He needs this traffic. He needs to grab this traffic going into Cunningham, because if he doesn't, he's going to be stuck behind it on the run through Collier, through Tower, coming out the other way, side through Floyd Fortress. He's spinning cars there as well. That looked like Smith. They've managed to get through. There's a Tamarino in front of him at the moment. This is going to be an absolute ding-dong of a final lap. You need it out the way, Ben. Take the inside line. You've got to clear it. Here he comes at the moment. Tom Lane's going to be running him side by side currently at the moment here as well. Through the left-hand side. Breathe. Through he goes on the right. At this moment, the line. Lane goes through. Who else is shouting? There's had lots going on at the moment. Tom Lane's got through. On the final lap, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Kesby's going to try and come back at him again into the final corner. But I think this is going to be Tom Lane's win. I don't think he's going to be able to get it here. Kesby's got to dive harder than a submarine. He's not going to be able to do it. Tom Lane, he's got stuck. There's contact on the final corner. It's going to be a run down to the line now as well. It's going to be a race. Oh, it's him. Oh, Lane's got it. Miller involved. Kesby on the run down to the line. Lane got hit on the run. Kesby took the win. But Tom Lane got hit. There was a lot of GT3s going in. I don't know what's happened. We'll have a look on the replay. John Mayer comes over the line, takes the win in the Hypercar AMS. At the same time, over the line he goes there as well. Alex, that was an absolutely ding-dong ending. And Lane killed himself on a GT3 right behind the line.
Well, that GT3 car was slowing as well. Tom Lane, you are a very, very lucky individual. Like, I don't know who that was that was slowing. I don't think it was Petrovsky. I think it might
Stephen Miller was the one he hit.
Stephen Miller, yeah.
Well, Miller must have run out of fuel then, because he was at an absolute crawl. But Tom Lane, you know, what we saw was the previous lap. Let's think of it this way. Kesby had lost 3 seconds. 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the replay here, because this is going to be a big telltale. So they got stuck behind the Acura. There's the side-by-side contact. Lane decides to go thread the eye of the needle, misjudges it. Bang! There's the contact. Oh, it was Petrovsky.
Petrovsky. I think that was Petrovsky trying to slow down, because if he let them go through, he wouldn't have to take that other lap, and he won the GT3 AMS anyway. But what he doesn't realise he's done in the process, Alex, by slowing down to not have to take the extra lap, He's affected the end of the race, not on purpose. You can't say he did that on purpose. You can only say that they didn't see how slow he actually was. But I think that might have been the plan by Maximilian there as well. If he slowed down enough, he didn't have to take that final lap. He would have wrapped up GT3 AMS. On the upside, he did take the win in the GT3 AMS. We think he eliminated a pit stop, but then again, he spun a lot. So Petrovsky takes the win there as well. Kirby takes the win in GT3 Pros. Meyer winning the Hypercar AMS. Everything was so thick and fast. Kesby and Lane coming over the line. That was an absolute most that was probably one of the most, if not the most dramatic ending we've ever seen.
I can't think of another race where it's been so insane from start to finish, where we've just had I'm speechless. I mean, I've never seen an ending like that. We've had beautifully close finishes in the past. You know, I think of the one with Mike Bell and I think it was Bradley Sellers who's they're running all the way out to or Daniel Herlock. You know, they finished with barely, you know, 100th of a second between them. But I mean, that was just close. This was close and just insane. I've never seen an accident like that at the end. I mean, I thought it was over for Ben Kesby once Tom Lane had gotten by him, and then he just absolute chucked it through to the end. And then I thought for sure there would be a drag race. And then Tom Lane, I did not see him hitting that car there. I don't think he did either. Because obviously it caught him out. But oh my gosh, that was just, and there were battles that we didn't even get to see that were very close up and down the order. I mean, between the hypercars, the AMS, and between the GT3. So this is just insane.
Yeah. At this moment in time, there has been some dramatic racing. We're just going to check something here at the moment. I've just been screened there as well. But let's see.
I've got to make a little bit of a point here, gents. Even though Petrovsky was trying to slow down, I got a bit of a gut feeling here whether Petrovsky keeps that victory.
Why?
Well, because if he's slowing down, that's going to cause that would have caused a yellow in sector 3, and I know for a fact that if my name's Tom Lane, I would have thought, why the hell is someone rolling that slowly coming out of the final corner? So it's just the case of Petrovsky on the road has taken that victory, but it's caused a dramatic ending. I thought it was going to be photo finish. I did never envisage one of the leading hypercar contenders having a big moment like that. I think at the end of the day, gentlemen, what we have to say is that after nearly 67 laps, what we did not see was the fact that Tom Lane was going to thread the eye of the needle 3 wide with Ben Kesby to his inside for the overall win here in race 2 of the season, and then have that moment. I think there's going to be I would imagine there will be a lot of discussions about that finish post-race from multiple different viewpoints. But I just thought, if Petrovsky, if he's saving fuel, he's won it on the road.
He wasn't saving fuel. I do honestly believe he was trying to not have to take the final lap. There might have been due to his fuel, Alex, don't get me wrong, because, excuse me, we were talking about him having to pit. And, at the end of the day, we still feel he should have done, but maybe he didn't have the fuel to get round. And that's why he bucked on the brakes. Right, ladies and gentlemen, you see on the left-hand side there are the results for you. We're having slightly little techie issues, but we're going to bring you Kesby, Lane, Karabasak. That's your 1, 2, 3 in the Hypercar Pros. Maya, Manny, Stephen in the Hypercar AMS. Then it's Kirby, Tammy, and Snowden in the GT3s. Petrovsky over to the Maya. We're going to start bringing people in here as well. I'm going to start with this man who, at the end of the day, whether or not he was slowing down to not have to take the next lap, it affected the end of the race. Maximilian Petrovsky, you won GT3 AMS, but is it at acrimonious sort of circumstances that you took it?
Well, it was a really crazy race. I think I took the lead early on and when I spun, so I lost quite a bit of time there. I figured out that the 2 guys who were ahead of me, I think it was Matthew and Ryan, I believe, they were having issues with the fuel mileage, so they had to pit before the minute mark. And in the end, I managed to stretch the fuel quite a bit, and I'll be honest, it was very, very close. I crossed the line with 0.00 liters remaining, and I had to go in safety car mode and everything, and I was lifting like crazy. So, absolutely crazy race. Absolutely
Was
insane
it?
race.
It was you who got hit at the end, right?
No, I don't think so. I think it was Daryl, because I saw him just stopped
Who?
at the final
Kruger.
corner. Yeah, Kruger.
Oh, sorry, Max. If you're watching back, I blame you. So I do deeply apologise. I forgot that you two have got the same livery. It was Daryl Kruger who was there then that was causing the problem, because he did end up affecting the end of the race. But Max, listen, we had so maybe it wasn't you throughout the race that spun. Then I don't know, because there was a lot of people. Maybe it was Daryl and you. I don't know. But Max, listen, you've done a great job winning the GT3 AMS there, buddy. Is there anybody you want to shout out before we let you go?
Well, for one, shout out to Daryl, because he gave me the setup. I did a little bit of modifications, but yeah, it was his setup work that made me just about fast enough to win.
Yeah, well done, Max. Well done for you, dear sir, and look forward to seeing you next time out.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good one.
Right, let's bring in Dan Kirby. He's used to coming in at the end because he normally wins the Hypercars. He's coming in the middle because he's now winning the GT3s. Dan, welcome in there, son. I would say you and Holden were having a right little bit of a ding dong, then you just kind of stretched your legs and said, "Thank you very much, I'm off."
Yeah, I think a couple times that he was close at the start, and then I had to pass him again later on. But yeah, I pretty much just tried to stick to the strategy that I was doing.
And what was that? Pull away, win, and not have to worry about it.
Save a hell of a lot more fuel than I was hoping I would have to.
Well, listen, son, you've done it by, a good old chunk at the end there as well. So well done for you, buddy. And how are you finding the GT3s this year? You going to go on and take the championship, do you think?
I mean, I'll try. It's pretty fun. I was just looking for, a different challenge because I wanted to change it up and try the GT3s because I'm still not entirely sure like what the best strategies are for it, and tires and fuel and all that. And JT's a hell of an opponent to jump in and learn this stuff against. So I'm not gonna count him out at all. He's an excellent driver.
Oh, man. Well, looking forward to seeing you two and go at it full bore there as well. But Dan, anyone you want to shout out before we let you go, bud?
Just the usual, everyone, and you guys for. I'm sure the stream is going to be entertaining to watch later.
Yeah, it definitely is, mate. I can tell you that much. But
Understatement.
have a good one, bud, on there, Dan, as well. And we'll look up catching up with you soon.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, let's have a chat with John Mayer in the Hypercar AMS. He had an absolutely bonkers ending with the bices towards the end as well. John, how much you sweating, buddy? Are you sitting in a puddle?
I am indeed, yes.
Nice. Oh, you got your swimming trunks on, mate, with your water wings, because you're going to need them, I think, after that one.
Yeah, I got the fans going, trying to cool off.
Dude, that was an absolute bonkers race for everybody there, fella, as well. How was it out there for you?
Oh, it was a rough one. Yeah, I didn't expect to catch, when I realized that they were just ahead of me, I wanted to just stay close. And then they both dropped off. I don't know if it was fuel or tires, but they both lost pace and I was able to get by.
Well, it was an absolutely stellar race there, bud, and a stellar win as well. What's the ambitions this season, John?
Oh, I'm just having fun this year. Last year was serious. This year, I'm partnered up with brain fart.
You're partnered up. You're partnered up with
Carl.
somebody somewhere that somebody's in the same team as you.
Another squirrel named Carl.
Yeah, well, it's definitely you and Matty Overton. Is that right?
No, that's for the 81s.
Oh, that's for the 81s, isn't it? Oh, who are you then? Hold on, I did have to see.
I'm with Carl Stroll.
Oh, Carl Stroll, are you?
Yeah, and Crazy Squirrels.
Oh, okay, mate. Well, you go and have a good one. Hope it works out for you there, John. But well done, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, I just want to say hi to Carl. He was unable to make it today. He's having a bad time at the moment. So hope he's getting better. And he had COVID and stuff. So
Man, well,
recovers and gets back into it.
I'm sure he will, John, as well. Thank you so much for joining us there, buddy. And well done once again.
Yeah, thanks for all the hard work. Thanks, bye.
Bye. Now, let's have a chat with Ben Gesby. We're only going to keep him here for 5 minutes. We could talk to him for about 5 days, to be honest, about the whole of this race. Ben, I'm not really sure where to start, but I'm going to kick it in right on the final couple of laps there. Do you realise how close you were to winning that race 1 lap before you did?
Yeah, but the tiny pedal for me wasn't updating quick enough, so I didn't know if that margin. I gave myself, it was like a second here or there, whether I could slow down, and I didn't know whether Tom was close enough. I could see him in the mirrors. I was like, I could hold off 1 more lap. There won't be that much chaos on the last lap with the.
Well, there was, and there was a car involved that I've just found out after playing with Maximilian Petrovsky. I think it was actually Darrell Kruger, who unfortunately I
murdered.
Tom, it was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, so I don't imagine I'm keeping this first. I imagine Tom's going to end up taking it from IIRs. We'll see. It was a bit messy. We'll see what the stewards say, but I won't be surprised if I get relegated.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ben, if the stewards do anything, you come and see me, son, and I'll go over. I know the owner of the league, Ben. I know the owner. There was nothing wrong with that. Ross, you better be listening to this, sunshine, I tell you. There was nothing wrong with that racing. He misjudged pulling out behind Kruger. Kruger, I think, might have run out of fuel, so it wasn't even his fault. But there was no wrongdoing. You did send it a little bit hard going into the final corner.
I did.
But at the end of the day, there's racing, isn't it? Rubbing is racing. That's what they tell me. Rubbing is racing, James.
We
That's all I hear.
That international mail on that one.
I tell you, I'm coming over there, Ross. If anything happens to this win here, because that was great racing, you cannot punish great racing, Ben. And you two went at it full ding dong, and I sat here nearly having an heart attack and loved every single minute of it, buddy.
That's great.
You tell him. Go and see James. I'm coming over there, Ben. Listen, dude. You must be sweating throughout of that, right? You literally, I think it was like 0.7 of a second when you crossed the line remaining for you to win.
I didn't realise it was the numbers I had were different. I was getting delayed numbers. So yeah, I mean, I should have. Should have been. I mean, I bet you didn't even see me most of the race. It wasn't until the last stint, essentially, wasn't it?
Well, no, we saw you get involved in stuff and that, and obviously a little bit, throughout the whole race there. But yeah, it was well below a second when you crossed over the line. You did not have long left at all because we were shouting at the screen, slow down. He can slow down. Ross is going mental, going, slow down, slow down. Yeah. You didn't. You just went straight over and took another lap. But it was absolutely nuts there, mate, as well. If that's the season we're going to have with you and Tom, surely we're in for an absolute banger, in we?
I wouldn't mind if it became a little bit calmer going forward.
I'm sure my heart and blood pressure would think the same, mate.
It was full exercise doing that race, yeah.
Listen, dude, it was absolutely stunning. I loved every minute of it. And George, if you watch it back, there better not be no penalties. I can tell you that much. Anyone you want to shout out, buddy, before we let you go?
Just great race with Tom. It kept me honest the whole way, and then exciting in the end. And then obviously George and everyone that runs this, and you guys. Yeah, well, definitely go watch that again.
Yeah, you definitely should. There, you hear the temperatures rising up in the booth there at the end. Stunning race, Ben. Let's hope you do keep it, mate, because you fully deserve it after that. And I'll catch up with you soon, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. There as well, Ross. There ain't penalties for that, surely.
It comes down to what gets filed and what the stewards decide. That's there's nothing outside of that, unfortunately, when it comes to those types of decisions. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Alex, don't Ross Smith. Don't make me come over there, son. I'll tell you.
Well, firstly, I've got to make an apology. Maximilian Petrovsky, my apologies, first of all.
Yeah, we did blame Max quite a lot, didn't we?
I mean, to be honest with you, it is a difficult one to call, but I'm not going to sit on the fence. It's one of one and one of the other. It could have gone either way because they were both battling hard for the race lead. It came down to final corner, final lap, dramas ahoy. Who knows what the outcome might be, but nevertheless, we had a bloody good race.
I'm hoping Tom sits there and goes, I would have done the same. Because that's where the IR is going to come from. If there's going to be anything, it's going to come from Tom Lane, right? Because obviously they're side by side. So I'm hoping Tom sits there realistically and goes, to be fair to him, I would have done the same. The door was open. He left it open as well. So realistically, it was kind of brought on there as well. It's like almost dangling a hamburger in front of my 15-year-old son and going, the only way you're going to get it is by fighting me. I can guarantee the hamburger will win and he'll eat it. But at the end of the day, if you leave the door open, you're inciting trouble. I'm hoping, Tom, if you watch it back, son, don't do anything, because that was an absolute banger. And he just got up the side of you there, Ross, as well. I think that's the only way we could put it, surely.
I'm just stunned by the race start to finish. I mean, that starting with the very end, coming through it, Tom Lane had mentioned in the chat here that he had a bit of net code. And to be honest, as tight as Tom Lane will run it and how much he'll push it, I certainly wouldn't see him purposely or even accidentally hitting somebody like that, when you're that close at the end. So I would tend to believe that, in that case, there was a bit of net code and he was just trying to run it close. And that unfortunately did take place. And as he was saying, he was actually out dragging Ben too. So that would have been a right to the line moment. But the whole race, I mean, we from the very beginning, we saw all that calamity down into the hairpin. I know that George Angelides is probably, he's cursing himself more than anything for taking out rival Jerry Chen, because that's not how he wants to compete with his rivals at all. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't think we stopped yammering on the entire race. I mean, there was a bit of a point when we kind of could catch our breath, but I mean, we weren't slowing down once for all 2 hours of that.
No, absolutely. Tom, he says, hey, now. I'm sure, Tom, if you are listening, you're not going to put in an IR, are you? That was just great racing there as well. Right, guys, we're going to wrap this one up after this. I need to go and have a lie down, I think, and
get your
that
tablets
as well. Yeah, I need to get me tablets. I think I need to, I don't know what I need to do, but I think I need to chill out here as well. But that's going to wrap it up, guys, as well. There isn't going to be any fancy outros due to some techie issues. So as always, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.